dude, my adrenaline was the highest it has ever been. Like, I was hooked from running from cops at that. I also ran from cops my whole entire life as a kid. Like, growing up, we'd like paintball, cop car. Like, we were just, running from cops for me was like, not like a serious way of going to jail, but I never would stop for cops. I was doing a wheelie on the freeway one night. We're coming back from this bike night down in Vista, and I'm just full 12 o'clock wheel. It's like midnight, 1 a.m. I'm just like my high beam straight in the sky. I got like 6 bikes around me, and I'm coming up on this car, and I'm watching this car. I'm like, that's a cop, like 100%.
Yeah.
So I put my bike down, dude, and when my spotlight goes, or my headlights go, foomp, CHP, dude, he just bloop, hits all the lights. Right as I came down, there was an exit. He lights it up because he's in front of me. Dude, I just foomp and barely make this off ramp.
Cool, man. Well, thanks for coming on. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
It's been such a cool journey just watching you, and then Kyle making the introduction, and then going on your podcast, and then just the whole BAM Nation and just the brotherhood. It's been awesome, dude. So I really appreciate you coming on here.
Absolutely, dude. It's the least I can do. You came on mine and you were like, yo, when I get you on yours? And I was like, anytime. So here we are.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it worked out. I needed someone, and you were available, and it was godsend. Appreciate it. So
yeah, here we are.
Yeah, man.
I'm proud of you, dude. This is a great setup. Great studio.
Thanks, dude. Yeah, I used to just do like eBay stuff out of here, and then it really was a catch-all for all my stuff, and had the fridge and whatever in here. And then one day I was like, well, we should do a podcast. And I don't know where that came from. That came out of left field, honestly.
Oh, for sure.
Like, because I'm not a public speaker. I don't like being very public, as you know, with my story. Like, I just, I have my circle of friends, and that's it. And then they didn't even know my story or anything. And I was like, all right, let's do a podcast. And my wife, bless her heart, she's been, all over the place with my ideas, between like wanting to leave the prison, start a podcast. Like,
that's a good wife, though, man. That's a good wife. I'm very fortunate with mine. She has chased me through every stupid ass journey that I've like, well, I want to start this. I want to be,
Yeah.
And she's like, all right. There's been a couple where she maybe let's sit on this one and just let it simmer and marinate for a little bit. Thank God. But yeah, man, it's great to have an awesome wife that will chase us and follow us through all the crazy adventures. Because, and if not, man, we're stuck sitting in a cubicle, a 9 to 5 for a whole entire life. Well, you got to provide for your family. Well, you got to look out for. Dude, mine's like, fuck it, we'll figure it out. Like, let's build the airplane on the way to the ground, and we'll figure it out. If not, start over again, do it again.
Yeah. What's the worst that happens? You have to go back to your job that you had. Like,
no, that's not an option.
Yeah.
That's not an option.
No, I know, but I'm just saying, like,
that should scare you enough to never give up on going back to the 9 to 5.
Right.
100%.
Yeah.
That's I tell people all the time, they're like, man, how do you do it as like an entrepreneur? Isn't it terrifying? Yeah, it's terrifying. And you use that terror to fear the ever going back. Like, dude, I walked to the gym the other day and it was, 4 o'clock, just crossing Victory Road. Cause I walk, to the gym behind the house, and dude, that traffic was backed up for 3 miles. And I was like, that right here, that's what will keep me from never going back to a 9 to 5 ever, is sitting in traffic, wasting my life working for somebody else, sitting in traffic in the morning, all day working for somebody else, and then I got to sit in traffic to come home and see my family. Fuck, that's what terrifies me. Fuck that. Like, that's the type of shit people are like, oh yeah, that's what doesn't sound like much, but when you've been out of the system and you work for yourself and you've built everything that you've built on your own, and I'm not saying we are rich or successful by any chance. I don't work for the man, and that's enough for me, and that terrifies the shit. And I was looking at all these people like, dude, I'm going to the gym in the middle of the day, and you're sitting in traffic trying to get home. Like, fuck that. That sucks to me. That is hell. Going to work, checking in, asking for time off, and that's what keeps me motivated to never quit, to go back to that rat race. Living in the rat race terrifies me, dude.
Oh yeah, the Matrix is real, dude. When you hear about the Matrix and you're like, oh, and then whatever, but you get out of it and you're like, holy shit, this is completely different.
It's the same with the public school system, and I know not everybody has the ability to do it, but it's the exact same feeling when you pull your kids out of the system, and then year 2, year 3, you're like, oh, okay, that's not, I'm glad we're not going through that. That's weird. My kids don't think like that. Oh, wait, we're not, what the hell does that mean? Like and then you start seeing like, oh, it's just clones and it's the same copy, paste, repeat, even in the public school system with the kids. And you're seeing your kids developing in a whole different way. You're like, okay, we made the right decision. It takes a little bit to, the fear, the anxiety, if you're doing it for the right reasons, or should we be making this leap? Dude, just give it to God and jump, man. Like,
Yeah.
God, take the wheel. Here we go. And we're going to figure it out one way or another. And if it doesn't work out, pivot.
Right.
That's the biggest thing. That's just pivot. Don't, oh, I got to go back to work. Nope. That's quitting, and that is failure in my book. That is you giving up is when you have to go back to work. I'll be homeless on the streets. My wife and I have shook on that one. We will be bums on the streets before I ever go back to work for somebody. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
Can't do it.
Yeah. Once you get out of the rat race and you just see like all the pain and suffering that other people are going through, and they just think that it's normal, and you're like, no, brother.
No, dude, there's a whole lot. Let me show you the dark side, or the bright side. You should say, like, look, this whole world out here, you're going to be scared shitless. You don't know when your next paycheck's going to come. If you're going to be struggling next month on whatever reasons, the stress and the pressure of building a business, having to support your family, dude, it's terrifying, but it does not outweigh the fear for me of going to work and having to ask somebody for time off. Hey, can I take my kids here? Like, I'm not wired like that. That is not for me.
Yeah.
It terrifies me.
It's wild. Cool, dude. Well, let's just start about like, where are you from?
Originally, I'm from upstate New York. It's on the Thousand Islands River. So where the Thousand Islands dressing actually is from. That's from my hometown. That's like a little claim to fame. Grew up, great childhood, just wild, crazy boy shit on the river, just hunting, fishing, spearing. I mean, dude, we just grew up like just the most hillbilly ass kids you ever could imagine. Like, it was just the greatest time. My family, we've been on an island for, I think like over 150 years is, throughout the generations have been on this island. It's called Grindstone Island, right on the St. Lawrence River. So I got to grow up on one of the cleanest, clearest rivers that this country has to offer. I mean, we would just, as kids, I mean, dude, we would plan camping trips all week. My brother and I were like the masterminds, and okay, this is where we're going to meet. You're bringing this, we'll bring this. So we'd have the whole plan. And, before the cell phone, social media days, and sure as shit, Friday'd come along, everybody'd go to the winds and, to their homes. Okay, 5:00, everybody meet at the dock. And dude, the kids would just start showing up. We're either riding their bikes, parents dropping them off. You'd have a sleeping bag and a little backpack full of whatever. Dude, we would just take off on a river. My dad would go, we'd fill 2 tanks of fuel up if we needed them. Dude, I look back at it now, I'm like, it's such a different time. I mean, I'm 12, 13 years old on this river, which people die every year on, boating accidents or whatever. It's actually a pretty treacherous river, at least in our area, because there's a lot of shoals and underwater, features that you can definitely lose a lower unit on a boat. Dude, we would just take off. We would just go and we'd find an island that nobody was on and camp for the weekend. And my mom would just pack us all the duck and goose. You'd open up a frozen bag full of duck breast, pour a bottle of Italian dressing in it, zip it back up. By the time we were ready for dinner that night, it'd be defrosted. We'd put it on sticks and roasting duck breasts. And so that's how I grew up. It was the greatest childhood, growing up in that area. There's so much to do. So I think that's what helped also start a little bit of my like entrepreneurship in those early days, because my brother and I, we have these bullhead they're called bullhead. They're like little mini catfish back home, but you could only catch them right as the ice is going out. And because as soon as the water warms up, their meat gets really mushy. So all the restaurants for like a 4 to 5 week period, they'll take as many as you can get. And my brother and I built like a little reputation because we were always the first ones out catching them. So they would start calling the house, be like, hey, can we get, 5 dozen bullhead? And my dad would be like, hey, the restaurants are calling. And my brother, we would be out till the sun would be coming up because you catch them at night. So my mom would drop us off right after dark, and there was a little payphone at the pizza shop, and we would go till we were at a bait or at a room in buckets, and we'd call my mom. It'd be 2 or 3 in the morning. She'd roll down. We'd load all these bullhead up in buckets in the back of the truck. We had a big pond in our yard, kind of like a catch pond. We built these cages, and we just dump all the bullhead in there. They'd flush themselves out in clean water. And dude, I'd call restaurants, and my brother and I were making, it was the most money I think I've ever made in my life. Like for how much work we were doing. I mean, we had stacks. I bought because I come from a pretty poor family. Sounds like we had a lot being on an island and everything, but it's just generationally passed down. But my parents, I mean, I think my dad's made 30 grand his whole entire life until he retired. Like, but we made do and we're given a lot of opportunities. So yeah, we've learned that, and I'd go catch worms. I'm slinging worms in little containers. And so it was just a great place to grow up. You either loved it or hated it. If you were into what it provided, it was the greatest environment. But if you were just the kids that weren't into that, it was miserable for them. And I can see that. But yeah, and then, through high school, I played I played high school ball,
What'd you play?
football, tight end, defensive end, and was really talented at it. Should have gone and played, but pretty much getting looked at by a lot of the schools in the Northeast. Got invited to all the combines and camps, so I was on that track to go play D1 ball, and then the war broke out. 9/11 happened, and I kind of knew myself. I was always kind of an idiot, always the class clown, the jock. So I got pushed through. I was just the star player. He's good. So I at least had this epiphany as a young idiot where I was like, man, I'm going to go to college and I'm flunking out of this bitch. Like, I've never applied myself in high school. I'm not going to apply myself now. I knew it. Then the war broke out and I was like, that's my out. Because my town, even though it's a postcard town, it's a little tourist town in the summertime, it's a black hole. Like, people never leave. And so then it's just the same people dating the same people. It's just a cycle, right? Like I went to school with my teachers that were in class with my dad, or that were teachers for my dad, were now my teachers, which wasn't a good scenario because my dad was absolute hellion when he was a kid. So a lot of that trickled into us, my brother and I. But so when the war broke out, I was like, oh, this is my out. This is how I get out of here. And so yeah, I joined the Marines in 2000, and right at the end of 2003, actually the first week of 2004, I shipped off for boot camp and never looked back.
Did anybody else in your family join the military?
My uncle served, but there was a 20-year age gap between my dad and then his older brother, so they weren't really tight, but I'd heard some stories and stuff. But no, I was from what I know, the first that has gone and served, and so, but I believe my uncle served, but they weren't ever tight. I never really got to sit and talk to him about any of that. But yeah, no, from what I know, either the first or I was the second. So
what made you want to choose the Marines?
Honestly, dude, this is a hilarious story. I was going to go into the Coast Guard because there's 2 stations 30 minutes in each direction of my house. There's one on Lake Ontario, then there's one down on the St. Lawrence River, and we're kind of in the middle. And we'd run into these guys, and dude, in the wintertime, they're playing Xbox. They got these little hovercrafts, and it's the skatest job ever. I'm like, oh, dude, I'm just going to get paid to chill on the river. And in upstate New York, since it's such a frozen tundra in the wintertime, it's considered a hardship station for the Coast Guard, I guess. Like, everyone wants to go to Miami and the Keys and California.
Yeah.
And nobody's like, hey, ship me to the St. Lawrence River in upstate New York. And so when I was talking to the Coasties at that time, they're like, if you want to come here, you're going to get it. Like, you put it on your wish list, you're getting it. I was like, all right, cool. And so I had practice or something going on, and I sent my girlfriend to the recruiting station, which was all the recruiting stations like in one building. You'd walk down the hallway. Dude, some fucking Marine, being a Marine, was like, what's up? Like, what are you doing here? She's like, I'm here to pick up paperwork for my boyfriend. He's like, who's your boyfriend? Let me talk to him. Give me his number. No. Yeah, he had that conversation. He's like, listen, bro, Coast Guard's kind of cool, I guess. He's like, if you want to just travel, bang chicks, travel the world, fuck shit, like list all this stuff. And I'm 18 years old. I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what I do. He's like, Marines is it then? And he's like, bro, look at the uniforms. Look at the uniforms, all these guys. They're a bunch of dorks. And I'm like, yeah, they do look like dorks. He's like, look at the dress blues. Anywhere you go, you're the man. I'm like, give me the paperwork. And so, yeah, dude, I signed up and off I went. I had no idea, didn't do any research on the Marine Corps. I was like, yeah, cool, let's do this. Like, I want out of here. I want to go defend my country. And I was like, cool, like, I want to do this. I want to shoot machine guns and full auto grenade launchers, everything, then rockets, like everything that an 18, 19-year-old kid wants to do. And so, yeah, he sold me on it. And
that was right after 9/11?
Yeah, so I joined 2004. So, I was in high school for 9/11, but the war's just starting to kick off. Iraq was just happening. And that was obviously a big factor of really helped me decide to go Marine Corps. I was on vacation actually with that girlfriend at the time and her family, and I'll never forget, dude, this is like ingrained in my DNA. There was a reporter calling in from like the front line of this battle. I don't remember where it was or, where they were pushing through. And all you could hear the reporter over the news report was just him screaming like, all right, we're taking contact. And he had to have been, now knowing what I know now, he had to have been sitting in a Humvee because all you can hear is the Mod Deuce, which is, the full auto 50 cal at the time. I didn't know then. You just hear, dut, 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 dut. He's trying to report, and you can hear the brass and the links falling on the roof and the hood, and they're coming on the end. You could hear all of this. I didn't know what it was at the time, but I'm just watching the news like, holy fuck, this, da, 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 da. You hear people screaming, they're like, shit, fire. And I'm just like, and then literally like 2 weeks later, my girlfriend goes to pick up the paperwork, talk to the Marine. So I already had like this hard on for war. Like I got a little taste. I was like, damn, that sounded insane. And then it was just like a sequence of events that just worked out perfect for that recruiter. And I'm like, yeah. Absolutely. And so, yeah, I ended up joining, went in and ended up becoming a machine gunner. And I was a vehicle operator. For my actual MOS was amphibious assault vehicles, the tanks that go in and out of the water. Pretty much what separate us from the Army. And yeah, you have a full auto grenade launcher on it, which you can shoot like 96 grenades in fucking seconds. And then a Mod Deuce 50 cal machine gun. And so those were our two main primary weapons on the vehicle. And yeah, it was the greatest time. It was the greatest plus worst time of my life. But yeah, I'd highly recommend, if the military to guys that are looking to change their lives and get their shit on point, is a great route. And so, yeah, it was, obviously I wanted to defend my country. 9/11, being a New Yorker myself, watching, the World Trade Centers hit. My buddy's dad actually had an office in the World Trade Center and left that morning to come home when they got hit. So he was above where the planes actually hit. So I watched my buddy in class. We watched the second plane hit the tower. My buddy was losing it. It's not like you could just call your dad back then on a cell phone. And so I think it wasn't until the end of the day that he ended up getting contact and found out that his dad was alive. So that kind of was like, holy shit. And then, there's the Muslims and they're all bad people. And we all bought into that red pill. And, I was like, yeah, I got to go defend my country, and signed up and off I went, man. And I've never looked back. It just started my whole entire journey to where we are here.
Yeah, dude. What was your Marine Corps basic training like?
Dude, it was the greatest and worst time of my life. Like Marine Corps boot camp, at least then, was so fucking hilarious looking back at it now, of just the games that they play and how you get messed with. Like, I've told this story before, but people don't believe me. My rack mate will 100% vouch for this. My rack mate's actually one of my best friends to this day. He's a U.S. Marshal, travels the world doing some really cool shit. But I didn't know how to clean my rifle until after I graduated boot camp, because I was that recruit that I couldn't just keep my mouth shut. I couldn't just look away. I always had to, I was always squaring off to we had this tiny little black staff sergeant drill instructor, and he had these the biggest chiclet teeth you've ever seen in your life. And he would just be walking and look at me really quick, and I'd always be looking down at him because he was tiny. He'd be like, "You fucking eyeballing me, Marshal?" And I'd be like, "Yes, sir." He'd be like, "Come with me." And I just could never say no because I couldn't let him win. I've had that mindset my whole life. Like, you staring at me? I'm like, fuck yeah, I'm staring at you. Like in my head, but I'm like, yes, sir. And so he just hazed the shit out of me. So it became this game. Every time you would prepare for rifle maintenance, you got to pull your wall locker out. You got this little mat you lay out, and they go by the numbers. They break down on M16 by the piece. Didn't know any of it. Didn't know how to take. So my rack mate would literally undo his combo, set his up, undo mine. So as everybody's getting ready to start learning their rifles, they would just haze me the whole entire time. So it got to the point with this game, they'd be like, "Prepare for rifle maintenance," and I would just start getting undressed, and I'd go to the quarter deck where they'd haze the shit out of you. And it just got to where they'd walk out and be like, "Haze yourself, bitch," and I just sit there like hazing myself, and then they'd turn their back on me, and I'd just be like behind them, and I wouldn't be doing anything, and all the recruits would be like laughing. So it was just this huge game the whole entire time. Like, I just took boot camp as a massive game, and it was hilarious. Dude, we ended up getting caught. I don't know if I've ever told this story. We ended up getting caught. It was right before we're graduating. I'm talking a week out from graduating boot camp. We're getting ready to do the crucible, which is like your big final exercise. You go through this whole, it's and then you come out of it, and it's this big ceremony and all this other shit. Anyways, they give us all MREs, but they make us field strip our MREs so that you don't get like the poppy pound cakes. They don't let you have peanut butter. They take out all the good shit and just leave like the meal and a cracker, and that's what you get to live off of. Well, in the squad bay at boot camp, we're putting all this in empty MRE boxes, and we had to like walk out cases of all the good shit, the candies, the Skittles, the peanut M&Ms, all the stuff that, normal Marines get. You can't get it at boot camp. And so that night I'm dead asleep and my boy wakes me up and he's like, hey, and I'm on the top rack. Like I open my eyes and he goes, and breathes in my face. And I'm like I said, I'm like, what is that? He's like, Skittles. I'm like, from where? And he goes, I went out to the dumpster and got some. And I'm like, I jump out of my bed. I'm like, let's go. So we get dressed like we're taking the trash out because they made 2 recruits carry a trash can. You had to have like a yellow glow strap, you know, like the reflective strap.
Yeah.
Then you had to have a little flashlight. They call them a moonbeam or some shit in boot camp. So we dressed the 9 like we're on fire watch taking the trash out. And so we slide open the dumpster and he goes to get it. And I shove his ass and he goes falling into the dumpster and he starts throwing out. But where these drill instructors really messed up is they made us organize everything in these boxes. So one box was all like Skittles and like little charm. We call them Lucky Charms, or like a little square candy. It tastes like shit, but it's flavor, right?
Yeah.
So everything, there was a box of brownies and pound cakes. Everything was separated. So he's just ripping open boxes and we're filling this trash can up. Dude, within like 20 minutes, the whole squad base awake. Like everybody's awake. We gorge ourselves. Imagine like Peter Pan, you know, when the table full of food and everyone just stuffing their, like Rufio, you know, like in that scene. The whole entire, literally almost the whole entire platoon, including the guide, squad leaders, stuffing their faces all night. So we pick everything up, run all the trash back out. Everyone's just like, oh, like sugar high, like haven't had any sweets or anything the whole entire freaking 3 months of boot camp. Drill instructor comes out in the morning and there's a Skittle laying on the floor. And that dude walks out and goes, just like, dude, straight to this Skittle and picks this Skittle up. And he's like, who the fuck? It starts going crazy. And this kid, this recruit, which wasn't even like one of our own recruits that came through boot camp with us. He was a drop from another platoon and then picked up with us like 3/4 of the way through. So nobody liked him. He's a little piece of shit kid. Rats out the whole entire platoon, bro. It was a shit show. And then they were like, if anybody touches him, you're all going to pay. They hazed the dog shit out of us, bro. They were all throwing up. Everybody was puking up brownies and Skittles. And it was just, dude, it was horrible. So worth it. I 100% would have done it again. But yeah, it was one of those things. But like, that's how it was at boot camp. Everything I did, I just tried to make it fun. Like everybody's miserable and suffering, and I'm over here just talking shit and making, you know, fucking with dude stuff, tying things to their bootlaces together and like watching them. I was that dude at boot camp that just was never going to break. I was always going to be who I was, but I was just going to enjoy it, make the best out of it. It was a lot of fun, man. I enjoyed it, but it was, it was a great time. Not at the time. It's probably like going through, you know, when you're going to go be a CO and you got to go through all the bullshit and get pepper sprayed and you're like, dude, this is miserable. But then afterward, they're fun stories. Like, that's how boot camp is. At the time, absolutely miserable. But afterward, you sit back and laugh. You're like, dude, what in the hell did we do? Like, the fact that this even happens is hilarious.
Yeah, the only opportunity I ever got with like the drill instructors was when I went through the CERT Academy, like their SWAT for the prison.
Yeah.
I mean, because honestly, the CO post Academy, it's like, it's more classwork than really anything else. I think they might have changed it now to more Archon and like ground tactics. Yeah. But even then, like, you see some of the people that graduate and you're like... But like the CERT Academy was definitely we started out with 25 people and only 10 people graduated.
What?
So, yeah.
No shit.
It's like a 10-day, and some people that are in the military, they said like it's pretty close to like what a condensed version of boot camp would be. They have to get it in like 10 days.
Yeah.
So like the first 3 days they just try and get you to drop like flies.
I'm
like
sure
they want to see who quick. Actually, and you could tell like when the drill instructors like don't like someone, they know they're not gonna. They can just smell it, and they just keep poking at this guy and poking at him and just making him, and then he'll quit. But some of them don't quit, and then they're like, all right, they get some respect. But
for sure.
But that's about the only time. But yeah, just like after we're done now, I'm thinking back and I'm like, man, that sucked, but it was so fun.
Yeah,
it was like that's like hunting too. Like the worst hunts are the best hunts.
They're most memorable. But at that time, and you're packing out, and you look at your map, and you're fucking 5 miles still to the truck. You're like, what the shit, you know? Yeah. And then you think you're gonna die. Then you get to the truck and you drop that pack, and you got a giant elk on, a bull on your back. You're like, all right, I'd do that again. Like, it was so worth it. But that whole entire journey is miserable until you get to the end and, you know, the finish line. You're like, all right, that was worth it. It was great. And, you get a bunch of stories and friends and memories out of it. So
well, that's what you can say really about anything in life is that like the journey is what makes it. It's not just
100%.
It's not when you get the thing, you're like, okay, well now what? You know?
Well, it's like the dog that catches the car.
Yeah.
You know, it's its whole life. You're chasing, you're excited, and it's a thrill. Then once you get it, you're like, oh fuck, okay. Like then you
Yeah.
get to look back, like, man, this was so much fun. And until you get to the finish line, that's how it is on a lot of things that I've realized over life. Like the most enjoyable parts, the memorable parts were getting to the goal or getting to that finish line, and then it's like, okay, cool, okay, I'm here. Like,
Now what?
damn, then but you always talk, you know what talk about? I did it. It was like, did you remember this time? Do you remember when we were in the middle of this? Like those are the memories, and that's what you're gonna hang on to for forever to get to your goal. And it's great to accomplish goals, like,
Yeah.
obviously. But yeah, I enjoy the process 100%. You know, it's always miserable. You might not see it at the time. You're cold, wet, starving, miserable. You got jungle rot on your boots, and you know, you're just like, bro, kill me. But then, you know, afterward, you're like, do you remember that one time that guy fell in that hole and almost drowned? And everybody's laughing about it. You're like, oh, yeah, and you forget about it. It just becomes, you know, part of the story.
When you were in the Marines, was that when they still had drill instructors that could do more stuff than they can now? I know like Hegseth had something like last November. He talked about them going back to like the 1990s standards, and drill instructors could actually like get in your face and actually do stuff.
Oh,
not be
yeah.
so soft.
I'm not saying my drill instructors were like beating us or anything, because there was way worse generations ahead of me. But no, dude, I got punched a couple times. My drill instructor walked up. He said something, and I don't know why, but I went, what? Just, I don't know if it was I didn't even know if it was him talking. Dude, and by the time I registered, I went, and I turned, and he was in my face, and he just, blah, like palm punched me, and I tripped over a foot locker. And I fall and land right on the back of my head, dude. It rung my bell. It wasn't even the slap. That just like caught me off guard when I smacked my head on the concrete. And dude, I had a drill instructor. I'm standing in the chow hall line, and I'm in the back, and I didn't know this drill instructor was behind my buddy and I. We're kind of like bullshit, and I kind of like tap him. You're supposed to be standing with your, you know, at attention, you know, thumbs and everything here, all that stupid shit. Well, I wasn't. And he took his campaign cover off, and he fucking chopped my fingers with it. Like some 007, you know, that you used to throw the hat. He chopped my fingers, and I went, and I looked. I thought this dude legit cut my fingers off. It hurt so bad. I went, I just had to take a second to realize all my appendages were still there. He whacked the shit out of me, dude. I thought he fucking cut all my fingers off, but it wasn't too brutal. We were kind of catching the tail end of like the hazing, because I think the year before us or 6 months before us, one recruit ended up passing away. Like, dude, I don't know if it was hazing, but it was talk of boot camp, so they were toning it down. We still got some hands on, but it wasn't anything major. No, like it wasn't like Full Metal Jacket days where they're beating the shit out of you. But they were still a little hands on at that point. But I'm sure it's gotten way softer after we went through. I think my generation of those GWAT vets, the whole Iraq, Afghan, we were the last good era of veterans in the middle, at least for the Marine Corps. It's a lot's changed now, which it is what it is. I have buddies that are retiring that we were in. They're like, dude, it's miserable compared to what we had it for. As far as just all these kids now know all their rights. They go straight to the chaplain. They're submitting, you know,
grievances,
warnings and stuff on people, and they're like, it's not the same Corps anymore. It's pretty lame. So as far as it comes to like training, and I'm a huge advocate on hazing in a way, because my platoon, when we deployed, we were hazed so bad, dude, so bad. If you would even looked at our platoon wrong from anybody else, dude, you had 60 dudes on your ass quicker than anything, bro. Like, we were so tight because we were so trauma bonded from being hazed so bad that it just brought us together. So when we deployed, dude, you can just read somebody's mind by just watching their body language. We were that tight of a unit. So I see the benefits of it too. Did they go a little far? A lot of times, 100%. But it just, like I said, dude, it was all part of that story and the journey, and having a dude laughs afterward. Like, yeah, remember when they did that to us? And you just got to make the best out of it. But it was pretty rough for a while, for sure.
Well, later on, you realize too that everything they do is for a reason.
I think a lot of it,
even if it's just to make sure you're not a pussy.
I think a lot of it, these guys were like sadistic assholes that just got back from Iraq. They did the push. They did the invasion. They're all juiced out of their mind. They had lost half their unit to like a V bid. So these dudes did not know how to process any of this shit. Okay. And then when they came back, we were in the fleet just running amok, like Lord of the Flies, bro. Like just running around with spears and fucking just killing everything in sight. And then so we didn't have any leadership for 6-7 months in the Marine Corps as all these troops. We literally they just released a platoon of cats just fucking to the winds. And these guys get back from Iraq, had their asses handed to them. Dude, half the battalions got Purple Hearts. Like all these dudes are just war dogs. And then they come back to us, this platoon of just young kids that we think we're all salty because we've been in the fleet for 6 months with zero supervision running amok.
Yeah.
So it was like two worlds colliding, and we were like, oh my God, we didn't know how to process any of it. So yeah, our world got turned upside down pretty bad because I don't think those guys even knew one how to process it because they're the initial wave of guys coming back. So dude, we went to a battalion Purple Heart ceremony and it took like 4 hours. There were tables lined of awards and Purple Hearts, and these dudes fought their asses off for a long time, and then they come back to a bunch of belligerent assholes that don't want to listen to them. So they needed to get us in check real quick, and they did. Yeah, it was rough for a while. So, but I get it. You know, I ended up being those guys. When we got back, we got our boots, and then it's just the tradition of making life hell and starting it all over and getting them ready for war.
Yeah. Where'd you get stationed at?
I was fortunate, man. I was on Pendleton the whole entire time. So I'm a Paris Island Marine, but fortunately I got stationed right on the beach in Pendleton, right in SoCal. So sounds horrible, but at the same time, dude, it's like a Friday afternoon. You're cleaning a 50 cal machine gun and you're like watching women in bikinis, and you could smell the barbecue and you hear the waves crashing and it's like 75 degrees out. You're like,
yeah,
just busting rust off of a bolt for no reason because the major's sitting in his office and nobody wants to leave before the major. And so that's where it's torture. And then, but obviously when you get in a good platoon and it's a Friday afternoon and you're like, yo, get the fuck out of here. You know, that's how I was as a leader. I'm like, yeah, it's fucking 10 o'clock on a Friday. Go home. What do we got? Nothing. Go home. Don't answer your phones. And so I just cut guys out. So it ended up paying off when obviously I picked up rank and did my time. But yeah, as a troop, like a young troop stationed on the beach sounds great until it's a Friday afternoon and you're cleaning weapons or washing out a vehicle and the beach is calling your name. Then it could get pretty rough.
How long were you in before you went on your first deployment?
Joined in 2005. So by the time all training, everything was done, probably close to 8 months to less than a year. We were on our way out. So I'd say probably close to a year. That's with them coming back, picking up the platoon, building our platoon, and then we have to go through 6 months of workups is usually the tempo. And then so 6 months and then obviously off to a deployment. So
you went straight in the Marines right out of high school then?
I took a little time that winter. So I joined that. I graduated and I wanted one last Christmas and New Year's with my family. And then so January hit, I was off to boot camp January 12th or January 10th.
So you're 19, 20 on your first deployment?
Yeah, I turned 20. Actually, so I was 18. Yeah, I think I turned 20 and then I turned 21 on my second deployment because I did 2 back-to-backs and I had 2 birthdays in a row while deployed. So yeah, I was 19 when I deployed.
Where was your first deployment to?
Both my deployments were to Iraq. So
okay.
I was really fortunate. I got to do a MEU, which is a Marine Corps Expeditionary Unit. So right now, anywhere in the world, I think there's at least 2 MEUs that are, you have a Mediterranean MEU, which is your East Coast guys, and they hit like Spain, the whole Mediterranean region. So it's a aircraft carrier, and then they have the battleship, and then they have an LSD, which is a smaller ship, and that's where all like your grunts, recon, tanks, all like the combat dudes they put on one ship. Then you have a submarine that's with you as well that you only see maybe a couple times on your deployment. And they just float around anywhere in the world. So if there's a conflict that happens, an embassy's getting overrun, there's a battalion of Marines that that have all the naval backing that could be anywhere in the world within, I don't know, they say like 72 to 96 hours or whatever it may be. So normally when there's not a war going on, you're just hitting countries. You hit Australia, then you're off to like Singapore, then Hong Kong, then Dubai, then the Philippines. And so you're just, dude, you're literally, they just pull up to a port. No, we're going to be in Singapore tomorrow. We'll see you guys in 5 days. And they just turn the Marines out for 5 days, and then you just party like a rock star. So we got to hop and hit all these cool countries. Dude, I've been to Australia 5 or 6 different times, like in the Marine Corps, and all those other places I was listing. And so we're hitting all these places, and then from there, we went up the Suez Canal. So we got to go up the Suez Canal into the Red Sea, I believe that is. And then so we launched off the back of our ships, went into Egypt, trained in Egypt for a month, training the Egyptians and some Jordanians there. That was really cool. Then it's called Operation Bright Star. You could actually Google it. They have this like podium set up for the prince or emirates or whatever of Egypt at the time. And they come. So we train with the Egyptian military for a month. And then at the end, we do this huge exercise where everybody goes back onto the ships and we do this giant mock amphibious assault from ship to shore. And you got the Egyptians in their little Harrier jets, and then all the Egyptians in little Zodiacs, and they're like falling out of the boat and almost drowning. It's such a shit show. Like these guys, it's like watching literally like it's the funniest thing ever. And so we do all that at the end, and then we go back through the Suez Canal, and that's where we went into Kuwait. We went off the coast of Kuwait, then from Kuwait launched our vehicles off the back of the ships, drove up in. We were in Kuwait for a couple weeks climatizing, and then we pushed into Iraq, and then Iraq we went up into they call it the El Anbar Province, which was like the triangle of death at that time. It was like Ramadi, Hoklania, I think the Haditha Dam was in there. So we had our little region that we operated out of. I did both my deployments in that region. And so it wasn't anything super crazy that we were getting into. A lot of fun shit. I mean, dude, it was just being in a war zone, even if you're in or out of the action every single day, dude, it's the most fascinating thing to try to process as this young kid, you know, like here we are, and you have the concept that like, oh, we're going to go defend our country. And then you find out you're actually going to war, but then you're told you are, you're told you're not, we're going, we're not. This goes on for a month or two. So by the time they're like, well, it's official, everyone's like, yeah, okay, we'll believe when we see it, you know, it gets to that point. Yeah, and then one day you just like, holy shit, we're here. Like we're in Kuwait, and it's 500 degrees, and it's the brightest environment. It's miserable, and you're like, fuck, this is what it's going to be like, you know, and then you push into Iraq and you're in a convoy for like 5 days driving your vehicles up. That shit sucks because everything's breaking down and you're shitting in MRE bags. Like my buddy shit in a fucking Gatorade bottle, literally put it up right onto his ass because we can't move. You're in operating. Like you're not, that's what people don't ever think about. Like when you're in the middle of a mission and you're in a war zone, yo, I got to shit. Can we take it? It doesn't work like that. So my crewman's like, dude, I'm going to shit my pants. I'm like, just fucking shit your pants. And I don't know what you want me to do. Like, I can't just stop our vehicle. And yeah, he ended up shitting in a Gatorade bottle. It was one of the most impressive things that I've witnessed. And so, but just stuff like that, you know, you just don't think of it. You're like, God, poor guy. So, but yeah, we finally got to our AO, and, you know, we were operating out of houses the whole entire time. Well, we have our vehicles, which is really nice because it's like a little rolling hotel. Not a lot of guys get that luxury of having all of your amenities on your own vehicle. You know, power inverter, we had little DVD players and 7 cubes that had food in them and stuff, you know, so we call it Pogie Bait, all the fat kid treats, you know, because MREs and field trays get nasty after a bit, you know, you're just sick of eating that crap. So it's nice to have real, you know, flavor and food. So yeah, but I did 2 deployments. Both of them were really interesting. We did a lot of crazy shit as far as learning a lot. Like, you know, our main mission was like all hearts and minds of just getting to know people, patrolling all day, every day, just a show of presence. We were at that phase. So my first deployment, which was really cool at the time. Now it doesn't mean shit anymore, but we were in charge of, we were in a little town called Hit, and at a big train station and stuff there. We were living at a train station, and this was the very first election in Iraq. So it was a big, like for us at that time, it's like, man, we're making a difference. Like they're finally starting to vote. And so they had these jars of ink. And if once the Iraqi voted, we had to like put their finger in this jar, and it dyed their finger like this dark brown. Like you could always, so like the whole entire town, everybody was walking around for a month with all these dyed fingers. You could tell they voted. Obviously that doesn't mean shit anymore. Now that whole country went right back to where it was. But, so yeah, it was just cool. And then Saddam was hung, I think on my second deployment. I was in Iraq, either my first or second deployment when he was hung. And so it was like, you know, to be in Iraq and we're making a difference and all that bullshit at that time. But, yeah, dude, being deployed is just fascinating. I mean, you're going in people's homes like in the middle of the night and, you know, expecting them to like not be pissed off. And I look at things so much different now and how we were treating people there at the time. And it's just a different mindset, you know, young and dumb. And I drank the red Kool-Aid, took the red pill at that time and thought we were making a difference. And so, you know, I'm conflicted now looking back on the shit we were doing overseas and why we were even there. But yeah, but at the same time, dude, it was some of the greatest stories and memories of my life. Just, you know, fucking around with people and going in homes and finding caches. It was almost, imagine an Easter egg hunt for weapons every day. You know, we had metal detectors. We're in these palm groves and there's these aqueduct systems that have been there for 1,000 years and very fascinating. I wish I could go back now and look at it from an adult, like a grown, matured mind and just look at how beautiful it really is, because we were on the Euphrates River, which is biblical. And so you know, you have these little towns and villages that have been there from the beginning of time. And so it's really, it was cool to look back on it now and see that we were part of, you know, this ancient culture that's never evolved hardly ever. And so to be able to go in there and be part of that and to eat their food and be a part of their culture it was a great experience, man. I got a lot from it, and, you know, and the memories and the friends, and yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Who was your favorite foreign military to train with?
The Aussies, the Australians, dude, they're fucking crazy, bro. Like that and the Brits, they zero fucks, like zero. They're just light it on fire, blow it up, shoot it. They just don't care. They're a lot of fun, wild too, and they vibe really well with Marines, especially our units, because we were out of control. Like when I say we were Lord of the Flies, legit, just out of control. Nobody can wrangle us. So then they would take us to these other units. They're like, these fucking guys are the greatest. Like we love Marines because we were just, dude, zero fucks on everything we did. So yeah, I'd say the Aussies and the Brits were a lot of fun. They're interesting dudes, just wild. We ended up partying. I partied with Norwegian sailors in Singapore, and these dudes were tatted, like face, throats to hands, and they're all in the Navy. Like, you guys and they have no tattoo regulations, anything, hair regulations. They're like Norwegian sailors or Swedish. They were Swedish. I ended up going on a Norwegian sub while we were there. We met a bunch of Norwegian mariner, submarine guys, whatever. They ended up taking us on their sub, dude. It was really cool. Got to go on and spend a whole day on there, and they were showing us everything they do, like the engines in those subs. You know, those big drain pans that you can slide underneath a vehicle. They're like the big metal ones. They got a couple inch lip on them. Imagine those like the size of your house. And the engine sat on those in like a saline water. So the engine actually floated. The engine wasn't mounted to anything.
Really?
So all of it was tubes, and then it sat on these. It almost looked like a drain pan, and they floated on a really dense, at least this is what they're explaining. They could have totally just been bullshitting us, but a really dense, it's like a salt water, you know, I don't know the term for it, saline water or whatever. But yeah, so there was no vibration. It didn't put off any noise or anything. We just hum. So they walked us through. They walked us to the bow of the sub where the torpedo tubes are the size of your room, like this big. Fucking massive. Like it was insane. Guys were sleeping in them. They had little beds and stuff. They're like, this is the best place to sleep. You can't roll out of it, you know? And so, but yeah, it was just cool. I got to experience a lot of different cool shit with different militaries throughout my time.
I would have never really thought about Australia for like a military down. I mean, I always think of Australia because they don't allow guns or anything for their civilians and anything else like that, right?
Yeah,
and then Australia is just a crazy country too when you start looking into like how Australia came to be.
If there's one country that I've said it for years, if there's one country that if I couldn't live in the U.S. that I would go to right now, it would be Australia.
Really?
Oh my God, dude.
They got some crazy animals like the spiders and shit.
Dude, oh my God. This is funny. We're sleeping on the ground. We're training in the outback in the bush, like legit. And they give us this brief, and they're like, if you see this, it'll kill you. If you touch this, it'll kill you. If this bites you, it'll kill you. If this bites you, you got 5 minutes. Don't touch this plant. Like, dude, it's like 3 hours of this. And I'm like, so fucking nothing? Like the dirt, can I touch the dirt? Like that's what it came down to. And everyone's like, we're all gonna die. And so we're just, dude, they would march our asses all day. We would walk for 2.5 hours to a grenade range. Get to a grenade range, throw one grenade, which is the gayest shit ever. Like, it's not even fun throwing a grenade. There's no explosion, just poof, you know? And then we're walking 2.5 hours back through the 100-degree jungles in Australia. And so one night we're sleeping on the ground, and my buddy's on fire watch, and he's kind of sitting behind me, and we're just bullshitting, and I kind of just fall asleep. God is my witness, bro. I hear this pterodactyl, just creature, screeching at night. And I'm laying on the ground, and I open my eyes, dude, and this biggest fucking bat thing was just floating, like screeching. Everybody's like, what is that? Like, you got all these Marines that are like tripping out. Bro, you'd be laying on the ground, and brrr, this thing would run across your face. Like, and it had weight to it, and you're just freaking out.
Gosh.
Dude, I went to the bathroom one night with my boy, because you have to have battle buddies everywhere you go, and there were like these little wooden shacks, and I walk in, and I'm like, you know, because you don't walk anywhere without a flashlight in Australia because you're gonna die. And I like pointed in the bathroom, I'm like looking because I'm afraid like some snake or spider's gonna be in the toilet, and I shine up. Dude, there were these I've actually had my kids look them up, and they found them. They're like these spiders, but they got these giant like claw things. They look like these like cave dwelling spider looking creatures. I ended up just shitting in the woods, dude. I was like, nope, not even doing it middle of the night. I don't even care if I wipe my ass. I'm not going in that place. Like everything in Australia, dude, was miserable. But it's such an incredible time. Like the people were great. Dude, we were partying. Me and all my buddies, once we got done with training, they gave us like 3 days of libo, and we were in Darwin. And just being the belligerent Marines we all went and bought these rugby jerseys. And I bought this trophy at this restaurant, or not a restaurant, at it was like a souvenir store. And so we're walking around Darwin, which is, if anybody's been like Oceanside, California, it's just like a little beach town. There's like 15 of us, like, oi, 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 oi. Like, we're all just young Marines. Like, we all have rugby jerseys on. And we're telling everyone, we're going to all these bars, like, we just won the rugby tournament. We just won a rugby. So we're getting all these free drinks and shit. And then, like, halfway through the night, dude, this human being that's like the size of a wall puts his hand on my shoulder, like crushes me in one of it. I like look up at him. He's like, who the fuck are you guys? And we're like, oh, we're all rugby players. He's like, you're not rugby players. He's like, we're rugby players. And I look behind him, there's like 9 just gorilla human beings, like 3 Samoan dudes, like just their calf muscles were all just, I'll never forget looking at these dudes' legs were just tree trunks. And they're like, you motherfuckers, like, you ain't rugby players. We're like, nah, we're not. They're like, you're going to party like them. Dude, they took us under their wing, and we partied in that town with these guys just won some big tournament. They took us under their wing, and we raged for like 2 days with this rugby team. It was the greatest time ever. So they ended up just taking us in. They're like, you fucking Marines are out of control. Like, telling everybody, you guys are rugby players for free drinks. It worked until they caught on. But yeah, Australia's a blast, man. I've been to Darwin, Perth, Sydney a few times, Brisbane. Where else? I know I'm missing one, but yeah, it's an incredible place. But everywhere's different, a different terrain, different environment. It's really cool. I love Australia.
Yeah, it's wild. I'd like to go there with the kids. It seems like it's a cool spot.
I want to go back. Big
Be a
time.
long ass flight. I'd have to give my kids some NyQuil for sure.
Yeah, bro. When I flew there, I was like I went literally from my buddy's wedding. I went on like a 5-day binger. It was bad, bro. I probably should have died. Literally flew from my buddy's wedding, wasted. I don't even remember flying to San Diego, went in my house, unpacked my suitcase, packed my suitcase, and drove to San Diego. Got on a flight. Dude, so I was like coming off a 5-day bender and slept, and I was hitting on the stewardess from LAX to, I think, Australia. It was whatever the longest flight was. Dude, this smoke show stewardess at the time, and I'm trying to hit on her, and it was working. And so she ends up coming into grabbing me like an hour into the flight. She's like, hey, you need to come with me. I'm like, oh, bro, I'm about the freaking Mile High Club.
Yeah.
My dream's coming true. Like, I don't even know. I'm sweating, dude. I'm drenched because I'm like coming off of just wasted for the last 5 days. She had moved this guy, had a whole middle row. Cause you know, on those giant flights, you have, you know, your side rows, and then there's a whole like 6 middle seats. And she moved one dude and gave me the whole middle row. And I flipped all the armrests up on it and slept almost the entire flight.
Oh, that's awesome.
It was so dope, dude. It was like the perfect. I'm like, oh, thank God.
Better than a Mile High Club.
100%. 100%. Like 14-hour flight. I slept like 12 of it, just passed out. So yeah.
That's sick.
It was pretty nice.
How long did you do in the military then?
I did 8 years. I did 8 years, and it was, I wanted to career it, but toward the end, things were changing. It just wasn't for me anymore. I started to not like the Marine Corps. I started to have animosity toward it. And like I said kind of earlier in the whole, you know, it's your own life. I'm one of those people, if you can't bitch about your life. Like if you have a miserable job or you're not happy with something, like shut the fuck up and change it. I've been like that my whole entire life. If you just get up voluntarily and go to your shitty job every day, I don't feel bad for you. And I started becoming one of those people. And so I had an aha moment, right? I was actually re-enlisting to go MARSOC. I wanted to go Special Forces in it. I got accepted I had my dates, everything was ready to go. I ended up getting selected for Staff Sergeant. And at that time, they came out with a Marine Corps order that they weren't taking any E5s and above for MARSOC. They were already too heavy, staff heavy on them. And so they pulled my package. They're like, sorry, dude, they're not accepting anybody that's a sergeant and above. And I just gotten selected the Staff Sergeant. And so I went home that night, and Britt and I were dating at the time. And I was like, I think I'm done. I think I'm going to get out of the Marine Corps. And she's like, what are you going to do? And I literally told her, I was like, I'll flip burgers at In-N-Out if I have to. Like, I'm done with it. If I can't do what I want to do, I don't like it anymore. And so, yeah, I made the decision. I went into my career planner. I grabbed my re-enlistment package that I'd already turned in because I wanted to career it. I excelled really quick through, even though I wasn't a fan of it. It was the military is very easy. Like as long as you're not, I could run, I can shoot, I could PT, so it wasn't like a challenge of getting promoted or anything. And so I just knew it wasn't for me. I didn't like it anymore, and so I made the decision. And so yeah, I started my checkout process and didn't tell anybody and just faded away, did my own thing. I had dudes calling me for like months afterward, like, bro, I haven't seen you forever. I'm like, I'm fucking out, bro.
Yeah.
Like, and they're like, what? And there was no ceremony or anything. I'm like, I didn't tell anybody. I just stopped coming one day.
Yeah.
And that was it for me. And that's where a lot of people get kind of tied up and shit. They're doing everything for everybody else. Like, I didn't join the military for you. I mean, I know everybody who fight for my brother and my country. Like, I did it for me.
Yeah.
This was my journey. It's my life. And so yeah, I was like, I'm done. I don't need us going away. I don't need plaques and the whole little shadow box. I don't get any of that shit. I didn't care. And so yeah, got out, made the decision and didn't know what I was going to do. And right as I was transitioning and in my process of getting out, I got approached to go on a contract and do some overseas private security. And I was like, well, shit, fuck, there it is. So there's a good opportunity. So I transitioned, I got out, and then immediately it was right back in Afghanistan again, contracting over there. And so yeah, it was kind of made transitioning out of the military a little bit easier for me, but I didn't give a shit what it was. I'll figure it out at that time.
Yeah. And you met your wife then while you were in the military?
Yeah.
How'd you meet her?
Oh, that's a hilarious ass story. I actually met my wife when I was running from the cops. And
Really?
so yeah. Yep. I was in the middle of a divorce, nasty divorce, and I was moving out to a buddy's house, and I turned down this wrong street, and it was gridlock traffic, and I was just like, fuck, I was already irritated, and I'm moving my shit to another town, and I don't even know where I'm at. I make this wrong turn. Well, I had a big lifted truck at the time, and there was like this concrete medium, like a 1.5 2 foot concrete medium. And I was just sitting here. I'm like, dude, this traffic's not even moving. I'm going to be sitting here for 45 minutes before I can get to the light to turn around. I was like, fuck this. So I just start mobbing over this concrete. I'm just going to make a U-turn, but I just had to go over like, those middle concrete dividers.
Yeah.
It wasn't high, but it wasn't low. It was low. It was high enough where a car couldn't get over it. And so I start mobbing over this thing, and I didn't know there's 3 cops literally sitting behind me in their cars. I don't know if their station was down there or there was a shift change, but there's 3 cops right behind me. As soon as my tire goes over it, whoop, whoop, they start lighting me up. And I look and I'm like, yeah, fuck that. So I just go over this. I knew they couldn't get to me. And it's not like they can just flip their lights on and just move traffic. They're literally in gridlock traffic on a side road. So I take off. I mob. I run through these bushes. I go into the shopping center, fly out the other side of it. I come out on the main road and I just dip. And I'm like, okay, I know I got a few minutes on these guys, unless they're radioing. That's what I was worried about, is them radioing ahead. So I'm hauling ass, dude. I come up to this red light and I'm like, fuck. And at this time, I had a motorcycle. Like, I was a stunt rider. Like, I ran from cops all the time. So I knew Scion TCs, the little Scion TC car. Every hot chick in Southern California drove a Scion TC at that time. So as I'm running from the cops, I see the Scion coming up. It was like a natural program to me, like when on my motorcycle. Like, you'd always look in Scions, Volkswagens. There are always hot chicks in these cars. So I pull up, dude. There's this smoke show, like blonde with pink and brown hair, like Neapolitan hair, and she had like pink dice or fucking handcuffs hanging from the seat or her rearview mirror. And I was just like, damn, okay, that's pretty fucking hot. And so I rolled my window down, and I had a pit bull at the time, my service dog. He ended up becoming my service dog, and he wanted to kill everything. So I was like, what's that? And he like jumps up and hangs out the window and got her attention. And yeah, I told her to roll her window down at a stoplight. I'm like, yo, I'm new here. You should let me take you out. And she's like, all right. And like started trying to tell me her life story. I was like, yeah. Like, I'll get all that later. What's your number? She gives me her number and I dip. Yeah, I texted her and fuck, dude. We went on a date a couple days later, and 17 years later, here we are.
So you used to run from the cops though?
Yeah. 100%.
On your motorcycle?
No, I was on my bike. Oh, did I used to run from the
Yeah.
cops? Oh, all the fucking time. All the time. I ran for all the time.
What was your
They couldn't
first time
catch me.
running from the cops like?
Terrifying, bro. I was on the 76. So anybody who knows Oceanside, Fallbrook, Vista area, there's the back road that connects Oceanside to, I think, the 15 freeway, if I remember. It's been a while. But there was this windy ass road, and there used to be this giant Cup of Joe coffee stand. It was like a big giant cup of coffee. It was, and it's old. They removed it. Anyways, I'm freaking dude doing like 120 in like a 40, and and I blow by this motorcycle cop. And those were the only ones that scared me. I knew I could outrun any car. Like there's no way in hell, I don't care who you are, you weren't catching me on my bike in a car. Motorcycle cops, though, those dudes are legit. And I blow by that. He lights me up as he's going by. Dude, I just downshift and I just pin it. And there was at one point, there's this huge sweeping bend. They redid the whole highway now, but there used to be this big sweeping bend. Dude, I'm hitting this thing like 120, like almost dragging me. And I'll never forget like looking because I could see back across and I could see his lights coming. I'm like, fuck, I'm so done. I was like, don't panic, don't panic, don't panic, don't panic, don't panic, don't panic the whole entire time because I knew if I was going to panic, you're going to go down. And I had enough time where I slammed my brakes on it. So that big cup of Joe station, I was like, I'm going to hide behind it. Dude, I come pulling in there doing like 100, just blow right by it. Like I couldn't even stop. Downshift, take back off. Dude, I ran my ass off, ended up somehow, like, I don't know if he gave up or I just had enough on him that, you know, he wasn't going to catch me. Dude, my adrenaline was the highest it has ever been. Like I was hooked from running from cops at that. I also ran from cops my whole entire life as a kid. Like growing up, we'd like paintball, cop car. Like we were just, running from cops for me was like, not in like a serious way I'm going to jail, but I never would stop for cops.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, dude, it just became a thing. I was doing a wheelie on the freeway one night. We were coming back from this bike night down in Vista and I'm just full 12 o'clock wheel. It's like midnight, 1 a.m. I'm just like my high beam straight in the sky. I got like 6 bikes around me and I'm coming up on this car and I'm watching this car. I'm like, that's a cop, like 100%.
Yeah. So
I put my bike down, dude, and when my spotlight goes, or my headlights go, foomp, CHP, dude, he just bloop, hits all the lights. Right as I came down, there was an exit. He lights it up because he's in front of me. Dude, I just foomp and barely make this off ramp.
Oh,
shoot down, go into this industrial area, hide there for like 30 minutes, change. I always kept a hoodie in my hardtail. So I swapped my hoodie out thinking he'd gonna see my hoodie. And I sit there for like 30 minutes. My boys are calling me. They're like, yo, dude, he went down the on-ramp backwards. So he's looking for you. So I wait. And I wait like 30 minutes, dude. I'm like, fuck this. Like, I'm just gonna all or nothing. I got on the freeway, just pinned it. I had a souped up bike. Like, dude, my bike was stupid fast. And I think I did like 150 all the way from Vista to like Oceanside. I made it there in just a couple of minutes and I wasn't stopping for nothing. But yeah, I ran all the time. I never got caught. Only time I ever should have run and I didn't know it. This is the worst speeding ticket I've ever got. I've actually never told the story. I got 155 and a 50 on my bike. Yeah. It was so stupid, dude. That was ridiculous. But yeah, I was racing a car and I didn't know there was a motorcycle cop behind us and we were at a stoplight. I was racing a Cadillac CT all souped up. My bike was souped up and this guy's like, want to roll? And I'm like, yup. Meanwhile, there's a bike cop sitting right behind us and we take off. We're in like a subdivision like kind of area. He takes off and we're racing. And dude, that was one of the fastest cars I have ever gone against. And we come around this kind of bend and there's a light and it turns yellow. And I'm like, oh, hell no. And I just grabbed brakes because I was not going to make it. And he kept going. I ended up stopping like a quarter of the way in the intersection, like backing my bike up. And as I'm backing out of the intersection, dude, this cop on his bike, rear tire locked up, just goes sliding by me, like screaming, jumps off his bike, draws his pistol. He's like, get the fuck out of the ground. I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. Like, what's wrong? What's wrong? Acting like I wasn't just, in this neighborhood doing 150 miles an hour. And he's like, get on the ground. I'm like, I'm not getting on the ground. Like, what did I do? He's like, get the fuck out of the ground. So I get on the ground and all my buddies are pulling up behind me. And he took all of our keys and he wrote me the first ticket, which was 155, and he knocked off 10 miles an hour, went down the line of everybody and just wrote everybody a ticket. And I was the only one that got off of it. I ended up hiring this dude. His name was Mr. Ticket. He was down in San Diego. Any of the OG bike riders down there at that time know Mr. Ticket. You'd fax him your ticket and he'd go fight it for you for $100. So I told, dude, my ticket was like $6,000, and I was gonna have to voluntarily impound my bike, bring it in to give it to him because this cop was like, "You're lucky I'm going to my daughter's recital," like chewing my eyes, like I got better fucking things to do than deal with you idiots. Like she's like, "I'm just writing you a ticket." I'm like, oh, "Okay, cool, I'll just get a ticket." Yeah, 155. So it was like $6,000 ticket plus a minimum. I want to say it was 15 or 30 day impound, and it was a couple $100 a day to impound my bike. I'm like, dude, I can't afford this. Like I'm done. So all my buddies were like, no, dude, like I'm gonna fight it, or I'm just gonna pay it and go on. And I was like, hell no, I'm gonna hire this dude. And so I hired him, paid him $100. He went to court, appealed everything, paid him another $100, and he ended up Dude, this dude dug up because the cop said on the ticket that he paced me at 155. It was my pacing speed, and then those bike cops had a governor on him at 130. So they had to prove, how are you pacing at 150 if your bike governance at 130? So then they got him for falsifying his documents, and they threw my whole entire case out. So I got away. And all my buddies had to pay fat fines because they wanted to fight it themselves.
Jeez.
Uh-huh.
Damn.
Uh-huh.
It's like a Better Call Saul guy.
100% it was. You'd fax them. You'd fax them your thing at the time. Email now, I'd imagine, or a picture. But yeah, I'd have to like go find a fax machine, learn how to use a fax machine, like copy my ticket, throw it in there to them, and yeah, they'd send you an email like, well, we'll take care of it. And yeah, they went and fought. They went $2K. It was $100 every time we went to court for it. It was $100.
Nice.
Yeah. So the bike
wild.
days are long gone for now. But yeah, the motorcycle days were wild.
You have a lot of wild stories, dude. I mean, it's a good name for your podcast, Wild Chaos. You know, because you're living it, or you lived it. I don't know what you're.
Still am, bro.
I don't know if you're running from the cops now, but that's wild, dude. So you went to the private security, or what was it, private military, or
Private security?
Yeah. So was that just like for higher end officials that you would just be like their one-on-one security, or
kind of. I've worked a bunch of different ones, but in Afghan it was embassy security, and so we were just doing everything in and around the embassy at that time. Living out of town in these like little old mansions that were built for like General Karzai's generals at the time and his higher ups. So we were working in along with like, you know, the CIA and Blackwater and all these cool dudes. It was fun, man. I mean, it was the shittiest job I've ever had. It was probably the worst job I've ever worked as far as health conditions. Like all of us had dysentery. I mean, you got Afghanis that are dealing with your food and they don't, you know, they wash their hand, they wipe their ass with their hands. So it's everybody's sick. The living conditions were horrible, but yeah, I ended up, that's the only job I've ever been fired from. I ended up getting fired after a while. I beat the shit out of my boss there, and they sent me home and led me to start the entrepreneur world after that. You know, I started an executive security company here stateside, grew that into a massive company for an old retired Army Ranger guy, and then just been grinding ever since. But yeah, Afghan was interesting, dude. That place is dirty. At least Kabul is just... It's such a beautiful country. The mountains are unbelievable. Like we got to go and explore on the civilian side. I'm using air quotes on that, like civilian military side. And it's just the most beautiful country, but it's just run like shit. You know, obviously we know how the Middle East is, but they have so many opportunities and resources to turn that place around. Dude, my buddies, you know, I had a couple buddies that I was there with, and they're huge snowboarders. Like we're all mountain guys, and we're like, bro, can you imagine the ski resorts here? Like it'd be the greatest ever. I mean, just the biggest mountains full of snow, and it's like, no. You can board it, but you'll probably get your head cut off and end up on Al Jazeera television at some point. But, yeah. It's like these people, I see them hiking. They're like, we're hiking from Pakistan through Afghanistan. And I'm like, you're an idiot. Like, you got the whole world to go hike your little dumbass off it. You're going to go hike in a war-stricken country that absolutely hate Westerners. Like, have at it.
At what point did you have kids throughout this whole thing?
Met my wife... and had Christy right away. And so I was immediately thrown into the girl dad situation, which really didn't give a shit about at that time. Like, cool kids, cool, whatever. 6 years later, find out we're pregnant, having our youngest. So hoping it was going to be a boy. Like, everybody's like, dude, you're going to have a little Bam Bam. Like, it's going to be your little mini-me. Find out I'm having another girl, and I'm just like, fuck, dude, this sucks. I didn't even want a kid in the first place, and now I got two girls. Like, I was just not in it. Way different mindset then. I was battling a ton of demons and just piece of shit. And so, I started living the dad life, and I was checked out for quite a while. Like, I was not a present dad. I was, not anywhere remotely close to who I am today with my kids. And so, then just... I did the whole girl dad life, and it just slowly starts chipping away at you and over the years. And so, it's been one of those most incredible gifts that I've ever been blessed with, is to have two girls. And now I have two really incredible kids that my whole entire world is just built around, and life and business and everything else is literally built around them and my family. And it's changed my life for the best. And I'm just like, got my shit together and stopped chasing everything in the world to hide and run from whatever I was. And so, it's really shifted things as far as perspective on life and emotions and just everything that come along with having a house full of women that are fucking crazy all day, every day.
Yeah, I feel you there, man.
Yeah.
If you don't mind me asking, like, what were some of those demons? Like, was it just PTSD from the wars and stuff, or?
Dude, I don't know. Honestly, it's battled a huge anger issue. I don't know. You know, I've never sat and gotten buried to the roots of it. I think a lot of it was just me running from just myself, trying to always look and find and try to seek the next high, try to see, okay, this isn't working. You know, I just ran from my responsibilities, ran from just being a good person, and, you know, just was really selfish and inconsiderate for a really long time. And then, you know, and then eventually start waking up and realizing, hey, like, it's just more than just making money. And here you go. You guys are happy and fed. Like, it's realizing that I'm now passing on all the generational bullshit that was passed on to me. And I have all these other issues. We have all these problems with our parents. We want to talk on all these, you know, the boomers and, oh, I got all this trauma. But it's like, who are we to talk on anything if we're not going to change and break those links ourselves? And so that was a huge eye opener for me. Like, man, I want to be on my deathbed one day, and I want my kids standing by me going, you know what, Dad? Fucking rocked it, dude. Like, everything that you could have done, we did it. We did it all. Like, that's a dad that I want to be. I don't want to be on my deathbed alone one day in some old folks' home rotting away, because your kids don't love you. Like, it's just how it is. And I understand there's medical issues and people have to put people in certain situations, but dude, I couldn't even imagine not having my kids in my life. And so, but who I was at that time was pushing them away, especially as these young, fragile young girls that I'm trying to raise almost in this militaristic Marine way, you know, and so it doesn't work like that. And I had to really check myself, and my wife just putting me in check, like, hey, are you raising Marines or are you raising daughters? And so that's where I really had to take that step back and learn to shut the fuck up and listen to them. Learn that, hey, they are emotional, sensitive little creatures, that they're not going to change because you want them to change. And yeah, just really becoming more of a present dad and an engaged dad, and being there, not just coming in, going through the motions. Hey, yeah, what's up? Cool. You see your kids a few minutes a day, then they're off to bed, then they're off to school the next morning. So yeah, it was just me really like, okay, like the whole point of life, or for my life, is to bring these kids into it. Why am I not going to give them every single thing that I am able to teach them and instill in them as far as integrity and morals and values and respect and everything else that makes a good person a good person? I wasn't doing any of that. I was just, okay, cool. Yeah, I'm the dad. I'm the provider. I'm a protector. But what else am I doing? There's so much more than that. They especially for boys and girls, as far as kids, like, cool. You make a bunch of money and you're a tough guy. That doesn't mean shit to your children. And so I just had to waking up and realizing, like, there's way more to life than being an angry piece of shit every day you come home. And that was a lot to do with work and my environment and everything that I was building. It wasn't for the right reasons. And so yeah, I had to take a big step back and check myself. And cool, I want to be in my kids' life. I want them in my life. I want to have a relationship with them. I want grandkids one day that my kids are excited to, they're yours. Here you go. Dump them off. Like, that to me is the meaning of life, man. If it's not, then why are we having kids and being miserable?
Yeah. No, that's awesome. Do you think that everything changed then once you got out of the private contracting, like out of that whole military kind of background?
Oh yeah, it took years after that. It wasn't an immediate switch for me. It was years of my wife not quitting on praying for me and to soften my heart. I just had this calloused, dark, angry, hateful heart for a long time. But when we'd have these moments, she'd sit me down and be like, why? What reason do you have right now? What is going on in your life right at this moment for you to be this angry? She's like, your kids are healthy. You got a roof over their head. There's food in the fridge. They go to a warm bed at night. What the fuck is going on in your life that is so miserable that you need to treat everybody around you like this? And it took me answering that question. I was like, didn't have a good enough reason.
That's a good spouse to be able to call you on your shit.
You have to be. If you're a spouse and your husband or wife aren't allowing you to call them on them, you need to have a come to Jesus moment with that conversation. And it hasn't always been easy. I mean, dude, I am not an easy person to get along with. I'm a very type A, it's all gas, no brake on everything. And so for my wife, this tiny little woman, to step up and be like, yo, motherfucker, like, no, this isn't how the atmosphere is off in our house. The vibe's off in our house because of you. Why? Why? Because I'm scrolling and then I'm pissed off because I see our political environment. I'm watching some other dude that I think is successful buying a boat, buying a truck, and why am I? What was me? Just that mindset, and then eventually changing everything and realizing, well, cool, that dude's got a brand new boat and ATVs, but he's also fucking $400,000 in debt. I'm not. There's always the other side to it. Okay, cool. You see a picture on social media. Does that mean his kids actually love him? Then you meet these guys and they never mention their wives. They never mention their kids. It's always business and money and success. And you start realizing, like, okay, what do I have? Like, look at you're a prime example, bro. You have a kid with a disability. I'm sorry, I don't know if you put that on the internet or not, but you have a kid with a disability. Like, what a blessing that God has put that on you guys to know that the patience and everything that he's prepared you for through corrections, through the struggles, your childhood, learning to deal and cope with people. There's not a lot of people that can handle that. And so it's like, okay, cool. You know what? You could sit back and play the woe is me and do this fucking sucks. I hate my life. I got a kid with a disability. What? Why? And I'm sure we all go through those phases of whatever it is. But then you're like, okay, cool. This is the life we're in. Hey, I got to lock every single damn door in this house. I got to have everything's got to have double, triple locks. We got to do this kid's little Spider-Man. We found him hanging from the ceiling fan, doing whatever. It's just life. Now it's just cool, dude. And this is how it is. And this is what God has provided you with. Like, what's the best out of it? Instead of going into it like, fuck, me. Oh, wow. I want everything better. Hey, man, how do I make this better? Cool. You know what? I do have a blessing with this kid because you know what? This is the patience that is putting on me and building me to the better man that I am. And that's how I had to look at everything. And until that happened, there wasn't much change in me. And so, yeah, just slowly, little by little, man. Girls obviously help soften an old calloused heart. There's no not being softened by some daughters. And so that's why I think God truly blessed me with having two girls and incredible ones that are completely opposite of each other. So I have so many different versions of these young, sensitive women that I got to deal with and learn.
Yeah, I think having gratitude is just such a big change in everybody's life. Like once you can start being grateful for even all the trauma that you might have gone through as a kid or anything, like I feel like that all the time, and then you get the victim mentality of like poor me, and then you can like switch that to being grateful that you went through all that because now you're a stronger person that can deal with things that are coming up that you don't even know what's coming up. 100%. But you've been through these things now, and you just got to turn that hateful into grateful. And now it's 100%. It's like why? What does poor me get you?
Miserable, bro.
And wherever you point the blame fingers, who you give the power to. So now you're like, okay, maybe I did have a bad childhood. So what? Nobody cares about your past until you do something with your life.
Boo-hoo.
You know what I'm saying?
Right?
Like nobody would care about David Goggins' story if he didn't do something with his life. You know what I mean?
100%.
Anybody like that.
100%. And that was gratitude is one of the most powerful things, man, that I have ever changed in my life. And you just turning the negative into something grateful. It's cool, dude. I just had to replace an engine at I have a truck paid off. It's great. I could go and get a new truck. I don't want to, but I spent 13 grand on a new freaking engine on this thing. It sucks, but my wife goes, okay, and I'm just like, oh God, here it comes, immediately like they're going to drop this on a motor. She goes, but we have the funds to be able to do it, my love. And I'm like, you're right.
Yeah.
Okay. I have the ability to just pay this off. I'm not getting a new truck. I'm not getting any more debt and a new payment and starting all over again. Cool. It sucks paying this, but I have the means to be able to do that. Okay, cool. Thank you, God.
Yeah.
Thank you for being able to provide me with the ability to just pay for this so I don't have to get myself into more credit and debt and everything that goes on. So, okay, cool. There's the lighting to it. So even though I blew an engine on an old truck and got to replace it, yeah, that sucks. But okay, cool. We have the ability to do it. All right. I get it. Just those types of things. And I know that's probably not a great example for everybody because it is what it is. But for me, it's just like, okay, like those would be things that would set me off. Now I'm pissed off and it ruins my whole week because all in the back of my head, I got to dump all this. Okay. Got to move this here. Okay. I got to cancel this. And, that's how I would just dwell on shit. But it's like, okay, cool. You know what? It'll work out. It always does. It always works out. And you just got to keep continuing and keep growing with it. Keep being grateful and watch how everything just starts as sitting in traffic, like sitting in traffic the other day, trying to get on the damn freeway from Eagle is a nightmare.
Yeah.
Sitting there and I'm like, I sit, I take a big breath. Like, I'm sitting with my wife. I think we're going to deliver bread. I sigh and she's like, what's wrong? And I'm like, nothing. I get to spend extra time with you.
Yeah.
And she's like, see? I'm like, you know, she's like, see? But I get that instead of me fucking Californians ruining our
Right.
state, you know, I'm like, you know what? I got my wife sitting next to me. She's my best friend, or it could be your kid, buddy, whatever. That's more time I get to spend with her. Okay, cool. Added an extra 15 minutes on that I get to spend with my wife sitting in traffic. Boo fucking who, right? But instead of road rage, I'm flipping people off because they're not paying attention. Like, why?
Yeah.
You know, our life is so short. Our span on this planet is a blip on a radar. You do not have them time to be going through life angry and miserable and just a grumpy piece of shit that nobody wants to be around. What is going on in your life that is that bad?
Yeah. Now, sometimes I'll see those videos of like coal miners barefoot under the underground, you know, doing this shit, and they're just trying to provide for their family. I'm like, and I'm bitching because I have to make a couple reels today, you know, like
Perspective, you know,
or like when I worked in the prison and there's people that'll never see outside the gate, and I'm like, and I've had inmates tell me like, your worst day on the streets is my best day I would ever possibly be able to have because I'll never be able to leave here, 100%. You know, and I'm like, damn, all right,
100%. Gratitude, man. Well, what is there to be great? What do you have to be grateful for? I don't have anything. I've taught guys nothing to be grateful for. Okay,
I went through that with one of my family members, and I was like, just be grateful. What do I have to be? I was like, well, your kids woke up this morning. They don't have cancer. They're not in a bed because they're medical.
You live in one of the greatest countries.
You made it to work. Your car didn't break on the way to work. Like all these little things that went right today are so much more than what's one little thing that you're just dwelling on.
100%.
You can either, it's like obviously it's like the half full, half empty. Which one you want to focus on is going to be right.
Mm-hmm.
You can focus on the negative and you're going to be negative, or you can focus on the positive. That's honestly like why I stopped even looking into politics, because I can't control those things.
You can't, bro.
I can't control politics. I can't control a sports team that people obsess their lives over. And I'm like, why am I going to spend these hours and just endless energy on things that I can't control?
Yep.
I used to watch like a shit ton of fantasy football, and I didn't even like football, but everybody at work, that was like the normal thing to do.
For sure.
So then I got on like the teams, and then I would do all that, and then I'd get Red Zone, and I'd watch 8 hours plus on Sunday, and then, you know, you got Thursday night, Monday night, and I'm like 14, 15 hours a week that I could be building my life. I'm worrying about somebody else's number and name on their back. Like, why am I doing this? And this is, you know, 16 weeks times 16, whatever. Like, I'm losing a shit ton of time that I could be building. And I was like, I can't do this anymore. And then other people are just like always listening to AM radio and listening to like all the political shit. And I'm like, of course, it's just like weight loss. If you're going to be bringing in all this fatty foods into your body, you're going to be fat. If you listen to all this negative shit, you're going to be negative.
What we watch, what we eat, and what we listen to is exactly what we become. And if you're listening to shit music, you're listening to the news, watching politics, eating like shit, that's how it is. But instead, if you're surrounding yourself with people that are speaking positivity all single day, if you're around people that are trying to better themselves and help you better yourself, if you're, you know, reading scripture, reading your Bible, listening, whatever it may be, it'll change your perspective on everything. And it's like, yeah, bro, like, I know a good buddy of mine who lost his son a few years ago to cancer. I kind of took the kid in and, you know, did a lot of real fun stuff with him. And dude, instead of just lost his son, okay, I'm going to live. Mason's going to live on forever through the dad and him doing all the stuff he wants to do. He turned that most traumatic thing I probably can ever imagine going through as a parent. And now he's like, he's building this whole entire life around who his son was, and to be able to live forever. It's like, okay, like you can't sit here and woe is me your whole entire life. And where is it going to get you? It's not going to open doors for you. Nobody wants to be around you. It ruins everything. And then cancer attracts cancer. So then before you know it, your whole circle's full of people bitching. That's a phase in my life that I've been in for a while. If I'm around people and they're just negative and everything's negative, and this and this wrong, gone. I cut those people out of my life faster than anybody. I don't care how good of friends they were with me. If every time I call them and it's just negative shit, then it's just putting it on you. It's just, you're hearing it every single time you call them. I'm like, you know what?
Or family.
Oh, dude, don't get me started on family, bro. I've cut all my family out, like gone forever. Like, yeah, I'm 100% advocate. If you deal with shitty family members, you're an idiot. There's no, bro, First off, fuck family. They'll turn on you in a heartbeat. They'll stab you. They'll kill you. They'll rob you. Family means nothing. Your family as an adult is what's under your roof. Like, I don't look at my siblings, my relative. That's not family to me. I don't care about that. Cool. People grow up in very tight communities with family. I understand all of that. My family is my wife and kids. That is my family. That is my life. That is the world that I have created, and I'm trying to build that legacy. I'm not passing on my dad's legacy or my mom's legacy. I don't give a shit what they created. It's what I'm starting now as a man of my family, creating that. And that's why I worry about my family, not my relatives. I don't care who's fighting, and none of that. I don't know anything that goes on in any relative and my parents, my sister. I know zero of what goes on in their life because I don't give a fuck. I worry about and that no drama. I'm not getting pulled into anything that's going on. I don't know anything. I'm cool with it because that's what my focus is. And I talk to people like, oh, dude, my sister, blah, 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 my parents. Why? Why? Talk to them. Hey, if you don't change your shit, I don't need you around my kids. And if they don't want to adjust to how you're raising your family, they don't need to be involved in it. I use people all the time. Oh, the grandparents don't respect our rules. Then why the fuck are you giving the grandparents the grandkids?
Yeah.
If you're going to sit and lay ground rules down for your children and the parents think that cut them out. I don't like, there's no need for that. I'm one of those people. No way, dude. If you're not going to adapt to how my family is and how I'm building what we're going after, I don't need it. Get out of the way. Like you're an anchor at this point. Gone.
Yeah.
Gone forever. Like cut them out, remove them. There's no point, dude. Family. I don't know. I know people are torn on family, but I'm one of those people. I am 100% advocate. Your family is who's under your roof. And so many people are so worried about catering to other family members and if they're going to offend them. And, well, do we need to bring this? If you're living a life like that, what is the point?
Yeah. Yeah, people just worry too much about the whole family and blood's thicker than water. And honestly, like,
it's the biggest crock of shit.
And the whole, like,
blood stains.
Starting like my social media business and everything else like that. Like, I've got more love from random strangers I've never even met
every time
than friends and family all day long.
My parents have yet to ever order a loaf of bread from my kids. Their grandma has yet to ever support them having a business. Why the fuck do I need to keep somebody in my life like that? If you're that ignorant that you can't support but online, you mean to tell me on Facebook you're the greatest grandma on the planet? You've never even taken the chance to come out, fly and see your grandkids. I don't even expect it because I know my parents, they grew up not very much. You can't order a loaf of bread. You can't even just call them to see how they're doing, how their business is going.
Yeah.
If you're not going to as the children, us, we should not have to make the effort to have a relationship with our parents, and my kids should not have to make an effort to have a relationship with their grandparents. As a grandparent, you should be doing everything in your power to fix any relationship and to build any relationship with your kids or grandkids. That's not my job to have my kids try to mend a relationship with grandparents. Like, absolutely not. And if they're not going to do that, cool. Hey, you know what? You guys can have a relationship with your grandparents, but as far as us and the adults in this, we're going to give them their time.
Yep.
And if they want to come around one day, cool. If you want to live an old miserable life and alone and not knowing how incredible your grandkids are, that's on you, not me.
Yeah. At the end of the day, it's on them to figure that out. It's not like for you to beg them to come be in their life.
I don't beg anything for anybody, dude. If you have to, you're in the wrong crowd. And you shouldn't beg your family for anything.
Yeah.
Ever. I'm a huge advocate on that, man. That whole blood's thicker than water bullshit is the stupidest crap you could ever fall into.
Yep.
Because, like I said, blood stains. And like you said, random ass stranger I didn't even know existed on this planet will support me before my family does, and you want me to have a relationship with you? I don't see your likes. I don't see your views. I don't see your name coming through anything. Mm-hmm. Fuck you.
Well, it's interesting because, like, you'll see their views on, like, the stories, but they never like or comment. And then I make that correlation, too, of, like, there's always going to be people watching your actions, even though they might not say anything, but they're watching.
Dude, you always hear it. You always hear your friends and family become your biggest haters. You always hear that shit. Like, and you're like, no, dude.
Yeah.
Bro, some dudes that I would put the best friend badge on. They don't watch. They don't support. They don't do anything. They're threatened. What it comes down to, what I truly feel that it comes down to is people watch you say you're going to do something and then you're doing it. And no, what is it like? 3% of people actually follow through with goals that write them down. It's some minute number. Like 3% of people actually execute on goals once they write them down.
Yeah.
But people watch you. And they watch that you're changing. They watch you're bettering yourself. They watch that you're growing something. And it's just this human nature where now all of a sudden they're like, oh, he's better. I'm not better than anybody. I'm just doing what I need to do to not be owned by the system anymore. Or I'm doing what I have to do to provide for my family or to help teach them things. And you're hating on that, like you can't just follow, reshare, support, download.
Yeah.
It costs zero money to support your friends online. But for some reason, motherfuckers forget about that. It doesn't, oh, dude, I love to donate. I love to support. Reshare my shit.
Yeah.
That's all you have to do. Just reshare. Oh, well, I thought you were big time now. Bro, you'll hear it all.
Yeah.
But you'll never hear, oh, hey, man, my bad.
Alex Hormozy has one of the best things where he's like, they want you to do good, but they don't want you to be better than them.
That's what it comes down to. I have buddies that have podcasts, dude. I don't hear from them anymore, ever. Nothing. Now that we're on a path that we're on, ghost. I'm like, why are you threatened, dude? Like, I've been supporting your podcast for 6-7 years just because I caught you too. We're not enemies.
Yeah.
Nothing's changed. We're not even in the same genre. But now that you just see growth, now you don't support me.
Yeah.
Make that make sense. So you want to know who your true friends are? Start a business. Start a goal. Start a fitness journey. You'll see who your true friends are at the end of it. Every time.
Stop drinking.
That's one of the quickest ones.
Yeah. That's one where I seen the most drop off. It was like, oh, you don't drink anymore. I'm like, I can still hang out with you. Yeah, you just don't drink it. And I was like, okay, so we were just partying friends.
100%. That's the mindset, though. Cool. Bye.
Yeah.
That's that mindset of that person. That's the last person you want in your life. If you're trying to better yourself and become the best version of you, cancer, cut it all out. Those people suck, man.
Yeah. So speaking of your podcast, what was it made you guys want to start a podcast?
Dude, I talked about it for so long, and then I was working for this a VC group, doing all their marketing for this venture capital group, and I'd hired a buddy of mine that was just following me around, filming everything. And everywhere we go, I'd run into these wild-ass people, and they'd start telling me these crazy-ass, chaotic stories. He's like, dude, you just attract the crazies, man. Like, everywhere we go, we get into a situation. Every time, I'm like, yeah, that's my life, dude. And he's like, you got to start a podcast and just start talking to people. And I'm like, man, I've thought about it for a while, but I don't even know where to start. And he's like, listen, I'll do everything. You just bring the guests and let's just do it. And I go home and tell the wife, she's like, you're an idiot if you don't take this opportunity. I'm like, all right, cool. So I'm like, yeah, dude, let's do it. So Wild Chaos used to be an apparel brand that I started with an old buddy a long time ago, and just life took us in a couple different directions and let it fade away. So I'm going through all the process. I'm like, well, I got to start a whole new business, like file everything. Like, this sucks. And I'm like, well, I've been sitting on Wild Chaos for all these years. It's been dormant. I'm like, why don't I just bring it back to life? Like, can't fail the same company twice. It's got that's got to be an accomplishment if you do. And so, yeah, I just launched Wild Chaos, already had it, and started doing it with my boy. And, we were just grinding it out and not having a clue what we were doing. And I think we got to like episode 28 or 29, something like that. And he comes to me, he's like, dude, I'm so busy. Like, fortunately for him, unfortunately for me, like, his personal marketing business was taken off, which great, right? I can't fault him for it. And we weren't, you're not making any money as in a podcast starting off. I mean, at least I wasn't. And so he tells you one day, he's like, dude, I'm booked for like the next 2 months. Like, I don't know how we're going to record. And I'm like, well, that's not going to work for me. So I go home and I tell the wife, I'm like, hey, kind of screwed. And I was already kind of like, all right, like, this isn't going to sustain forever because I'd only have like 1 or 2 days a month to film. So I'm knocking out like 4 or 5 podcasts in a day, which was miserable. But hey, it was how I had to get done. And so, yeah, I went home, told the wife, she's like, well, I guess we're going to have to bring it in-house. And so, yeah, we built out our whole entire loft and didn't have a clue what we were doing. I told my 16-year-old daughter at the time, I'm like, hey, get on YouTube. You either go get a job being a barista or whatever the fuck you're going to do at 16, or you can learn a really cool skill and be the producer of this podcast. And I was like, I know you've never even listened to a podcast, but figure it out. And dude, she got on YouTube and started learning. If you go to Kyle Nations was her very first episode.
Yeah.
And you go to his and dude, it's god awful. Like the whole thing's orange. I think his audio was off and we got the whole thing on just my audio. Like the lighting's god awful. The coloring is just atrocious. But like, dude, she's 16. I didn't give a shit. And I told her, I was like, hey, when we get to our 100th episode or hit our 2-year mark, like I want to be dialed. So you got time. And like, I am not an easy person to work for or work with because I have my standards, and when I expect things done, I want them done. And so I'd give her little goals, and dude, I just put a ton of pressure on her, and she just gets on and learns and reaches out to resources. And so, yeah, she's 17 now, about to turn 18, and she's crushing it. I mean, dude, she does everything from start to finish. So I get to, do a podcast with my daughter as the producer. And so to watch her learn and work with incredible experts in her field and, being able to mentor her and learn along the way has been really, really cool to watch. And then obviously sitting down and letting people share their stories has been extremely impactful. I mean, we got an episode right now, it's going viral in Reno. And so it's cool to watch her work go viral and make an impact in people's lives. And I mean, dude, there was just the chief of police was just fired after our episode went live. And so crazy shit, but I could care less, right? Of the success of me. It's now watching my daughter being able to reap and to watch what a business that's growing. And it's not like this was handed to her because, oh man, we've gone some rounds and some come to Jesus moments on things. And, so she's been in the trenches with me this whole entire journey, but the fact that she just sits up there and just Googles like learning how to learn Da Vinci and the edits, and I'm very, very impressed with her. And it's been an absolute blessing to have her because it makes a huge difference of being able to, I don't have to do all the after post-production. It allows me to be able to, find new guests and go that route. But yeah, it's been really cool, man. We've done a lot and talked some crazy ass stories in people's life. And yeah, it's awesome. I really enjoy it.
What was the reason you wanted to start? Like, did you have a vision, like you wanted to go full time eventually with it? Or was it just kind of like you wanted just to have kind of another thing you're doing? Because you were working full time at the point when you started it, right?
Yeah.
So
I love talking to people. And I picked this skill up from 12 years of having a charity with wounded vets and taking these guys one-on-one on these adventures. And bro, the majority of them, especially in the early days, were so like, I'm using this term lightly, shell-shocked. They were so closed off, very angry, didn't want to talk, wouldn't open up. So I had to learn how to open people up because I'd be sitting in a ground blind with somebody for a week and some angry, pissed off vet. And I'm like, oh, this is going to be fucking fun. Like I'm giving up time for my family. I'm going to make this the best time as possible. So I really developed this skill of being able to just bullshit with people. And, tell me about this. You got a kid? No shit. How old? Oh, me too. Just finding a way to mirror and match and get people to open up. So it almost built a skill that I didn't realize I was doing all these years. So then even just like listening to my daughter, she's like, Dad, I don't know. That guy, man, I need to open right up, tell you his whole life story. And I'm like, yeah, because people just want to be heard. And if you just can figure that out and just have a conversation with them. So yeah, it works. And I think now realistically looking of where our growth and this, where we're going with it, this has potential of, being something massive. Like I know guys that have, no offense, but they got some really shitty podcasts that have been around for a long time and they crush it. They make a really good living. They got great views. They have great sponsors. And I'm like, okay, if these dudes can do that, I have a way wilder personality and stories to be able to tell. And then just a different platform. Like I'm not going like a specific niche, and which everybody fought me on, dude. I talked to all my homies that had podcasts and have done all this. They're like, you got to get a niche. You got to get a niche. And I fought it. I was like, I don't think I need a niche. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't want to talk about the same shit every time.
Yeah.
I don't want a hunting podcast where I got to hear the 100th dude arrow this bull. Like I don't care. I want to talk to you. I want to talk to what's like being in corrections. I want to talk to a teacher that's discovering pedophilia in the Boise School District. I want to have a cop on that got shot 6 times. Like, what's that like? So yeah, I was like, you know what? Fuck everybody. I'm building my business. This is for me and my daughter. I'm going to do however I want. And so I just buckled down and it's like, you know what? I'm just going to talk to anybody and everybody. If people don't want to listen, then okay, cool. Then probably not built for a podcast.
Yeah.
Fortunately, after about a year, people started listening and, it just slowly started rising and here we are, so it's been pretty cool.
How'd you go through that when you didn't have as much growth as you wanted to and just kept grinding?
That shit sucks. Dude. I think I've sent you the picture of my Buzzsprout for that first year. And I tell everybody this, anybody, it's not even just podcasting. This is just life in general of starting any business, any adventure, especially online. You have to give yourself 2 years minimum. So if I'm going to launch a podcast, you go 2 years in ahead and you put a mark in your calendar. And that's when you start worrying about tightening things up, worrying about money, worrying about where you need to level up. That's where most people, I feel, really lose track of it because they're like, I'm going to launch a podcast and I'm going to have 20,000 downloads a month in 6 months. The fuck you are. Maybe some people get lucky, right? Some people are they're fortunate with it. That was not my case, dude. I mean, dude, I have episodes that have like 400 downloads on them. And I'm like, and you're grinding. You're in here. You're sweating your ass off. You have no idea what you're doing. You're learning all this stuff. You put it on an episode and you get 200 people to watch it. And you're just like, fuck. And that's when people quit. That's when everybody quits, is in that 2 year mark. Nobody makes it to the 2 year mark. And that's where I told my daughter, I was like, 2 years. I don't care about numbers. I don't care where our downloads are. I'm not even looking at, we still don't have any sponsors, but I don't even give a shit about sponsors. I don't care about anything except for just getting to the 2 year mark. That's our goal. Make it to 2 years. And then as soon as we hit our 2 year mark, cool. Dial this. I want our lighting fixed. Let's get audio disc. That's when we really started. We're always constantly leveling up. You have to, but it wasn't 2 years until 2 years. And then we hit our 2 year mark. I look back at our year downloads and it's like, I think we're doing like 4,000 downloads or whatever a month. Dude, we hit our 2 year mark. Dude, we're doing almost 100K a month now. And it's like, okay, if I would have quit, when you look at that Spotify and you see that line, it doesn't even move from February when we launched to February of our first full year. There is not one doop on the radar. Not one. It is flatlined for a year. That shit sucks. Okay, I'm wasting money. I'm wasting my time. Am I chasing the wrong thing? Okay, am I even talented enough to even do this podcast? Like, we're not growing little by little. And then all of a sudden one day, bloop, there's the pulse. Bloop. Oh shit. We got 8,000 downloads this month. Like, holy shit. And then you're celebrating with your kid, and we were celebrating way before 8,000 downloads, but just using that number. And then it's like, oh shit, we broke 8,500 this month. Oh shit, we're at 9,000 this month. And then it's just like, okay, but then it just starts working. But it wasn't until 2 years in. And that's where everything, if you're going to start a bakery, you're going to start your we'll just talk social media because everybody wants to be a YouTuber or social media influencer. 2 years. You look at all these people that are super cringe. You're like, God, dude, look at this. Why anybody watch this? You look back, I guarantee you, about the 1.5 2 year mark is when they start getting that shit. Now, don't get me wrong. Some randoms will go viral and immediately jump that wave and ride it. Cool. The majority of people are not like that. And that's where I say, like, cool. You want to be a social media influencer? 2 years. You want to be a YouTuber? 2 years. Like, because nobody knows you even exist. You're putting your little tiny pinhead mark on the globe and you want everybody to find you. It just little by little. But that's how I explained to my daughter. I'm like, okay, cool. We got 400 downloads this week or this month or whatever it may be. Next week we got 500, and then we got 550. It's just, you're constantly, and then there's other ones where you drop. You're like, oh, we're heading the wrong direction. Like, what are we doing wrong? And you want to go into panic mode, but you just got to trust the process. And you're going to have those lulls and mountain peaks and valleys, and that you're going to find yourself in. But it's just just being consistent and just constantly just do it. If you're going to commit to it, commit for 2 solid years, and watch what happens. And at that 2 year mark, cool. Reevaluate. Start changing things if you have to. Start leveling up and changing whatever it may be that is built around your business. But yeah, man, that's where everybody quits, is before that 2 year mark. It's frustrating, dude. You're in here and you're putting hours in, you're scheduling guests, you're putting money into the shit. You got equipment and cameras and mics. Like, this shit ain't cheap.
Yeah.
And then you're like, okay, like, when do I get my investment back on this? And you're not. You can't look at it like that. If you're going into like, oh, I'm going to get this, we're going to be this, we're going to be the next big thing, clear all of that. Set it in your head, 2 year goal. I'm going to grind my ass off for 2 solid years, and then we'll worry about momentum, worry about numbers, worry about the following. I just, apparel, social media, anything that I've ever built, anything I've ever been involved in, when I take on new companies and help them like consulting and trying to get them going, I'm like, dude, and they'll set me these goals. Like, what are your guys' goals? We want to hit this in our first year. I'm like, dude, fuck no. You could hit that. I'm gonna need $1 million to get there. Like,
Yeah.
you're in marketing to put you on the map. 2 years.
Yeah. Hard work should be the goal rather than like an actual dollar amount, because the man that enjoys walking is going to walk further than, you know, like whatever that saying is. I was really thankful that I was able to meet you, because I was messing up on so many different levels on the podcast. Like I didn't even know what a download was, because I was strictly just YouTube, and everybody's like talking about downloads, and I'm like,
where are the
I don't
downloads
think anybody's downloading on YouTube. They're just streaming. And then I was like, oh, I'm now on Spot. I was on I think I was on Spotify or anything till probably like 30, 40, at least 40 episodes in.
Good. Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, okay. And then it was like just adding little things like, you know, stupid stuff you wouldn't even think about. But if you're not thinking about it, they're not thinking about it. Like putting it like in this captions of we're on YouTube, we're on all these other places and I'm like, oh my gosh, dude. It was like so long. And, and if I wouldn't have surrounded myself or even met somebody else or reached out and thankfully you were able to share your wisdom with me, because I don't know what I'd be doing right now. And I've got to those points too where I'm just looking at like the downloads and the stuff and I'm like, man, what am I doing this for? You know, because it's not monetized or anything. But then I think about my own story and my childhood, and I was like thinking that I was gonna die without ever telling my story. And I'm like, yeah, it's bigger than just money, dude. Like you got to let other people tell their story. And I think like once I had like a come to Jesus meeting with myself, and it was like, stop chasing money and start just focusing on the other person, you know?
That's the problem. If you're chasing the money, you're going to build this business. Money's obviously the end goal. Everybody needs it to function and live and to live your life. That was a battle for me in Wild Chaos, because, you know, even now we hit incredible numbers. I'm like, fuck, man, like we need to be making more off of this platform. And then I started thinking to myself, I'm like, okay, like, do I though? Because then the more money, now, okay, cool, I pick up a sponsor. Now I have to film ads for them. Now I'm working. That was the whole point of really building this, is to, one, show my daughter hard work. Hey, this is what we're going to accomplish. We're locking in and we're never quitting this. So it has to work. If you just in that mindset, if I do not quit at this, one day it's going to work. And at the same time, I'm like, okay, we need to make money. I need to do this. It's the journey, man. It's like, okay, if you're going into it and that's what you're built around, you've already lost the battle, because if that's your motive and that's your mentality, you're missing all the little shit to build that foundation of a solid business. I want one day, dude, it could be 2-3 years from now, that company comes along and we have numbers. I'm going to give them that number and be like, cool, this is what our value is. This is what our worth is. And they'll know it because of everything. It's like constantly tweaking, constantly bettering yourself. It's just, you just want nonstop growth. People get caught up in the numbers, the money. And that, dude, the money is the root of all evil. If you're chasing money, you're not having fun. Every time I have chased the dollar sign, God, you just become obsessed, and that's everything built around, dude. It just brings out the evil. It brings out the negative. But if you're like, man, I'm going to come into this, we're going to have the time of our life. And if it fucking sticks, it sticks. And then guess what? Now you're turning a business and having a blast doing it. I wanted to build something that I can do with my daughter that was fun, not we're going to do this, we're going to be rich, and we're going to be the next John Ryan. Like, never in my life do I ever want to come in with that mentality. It was like, let's grind this for 2 years minimum. Realistically, it's that 3 to 5 year mark is when, a brand new business, I feel personally, starts getting momentum. But that 2 year mark is when I'm like, okay, we're dialed now.
Proof of concept.
Let's I tell my daughter, because, we're long range shooters, and I'm like, hey, 2 years when I want to start dialing. We're going to fine tune. We're going to bring the grouping in. I want center punch. Every single episode is going to be a center punch on a target. Then let's start talking, turning on the subscriptions, going after bigger companies to see if they want to sponsor, whatever it may be. But I was like, till then, I don't give a shit. I want to learn. I want to enjoy this. We got a lot of learning to do. Like, there's dude, everything. Like, I don't know what the fuck any of this was when I started this.
Yeah.
Like what Tascam is, and
yeah, I was going to ask you what some of the unseen struggles of being a podcast host and just owning a podcast that people don't look at. They just might look at like, oh, it must be nice, Bam. You're making a living just talking to people,
Dude, one, running a business with a 16-year-old child isn't easy, because I can't just be like, yo, you're fired. Hey, I need a new person in here. I'm like, oh my God. Like,
yeah.
And so, obviously running a business with your kid isn't easy, but at the same time, it's very rewarding once her and I found our groove. It's just lots of little things. There's always, dude, there's a plug could go over a cable that goes over your sound cable that's now giving you a static in your mic, and then you're chasing this for a month and you don't know where this noise is coming from. And then people are complaining because the volume's too low and volume's too high. There's so much finding the sweet spot because you're trying to appeal to the masses of everybody. It's just lots of little stuff, just tech things that if you're not a tech person, which my daughter and I are not, she is now, just learning, but constantly just being on it. I mean, getting people in. What's the next episode? Like I'm not a Sean Ryan, I'm not Joe Rogan. I have millions of dollars in sponsorship a year where I'm nitpicking every guest and, we'll pass on him and we'll fly him. Now I'm like, okay, he wants to come on, get him on. Yeah. Let's get him on the calendar. You know how it is. And especially in the earlier days, it's like anybody and everybody that wants to be a guest, you're like, absolutely, come have a conversation. So there's just lots of just stress. And obviously the social media side of things. It's not only are you running a podcast, now you're having to build a whole entire image, everything off social media. You got to feed that machine. To me, that's my personal biggest battle is social media. I hate social media. It is the devil. All of my world and businesses are built in it, so I'm just consumed by it all day. But that's my next biggest relief is I got a young kid that I'm going to talk to soon and paying this kid just to take over and just schedule just so I don't ever have to open an app again. Like that's the goal I'm trying to get to. Like, I don't care about anything else in life right now. My main goal is just to get off social because you're just in it all day and you're scheduling and, you put so much time sometimes into these reels and clips and then they'll get 100 views on them. You're like, what the fuck? Like, and then you throw out something where you're like, this is lame. I'll throw it on a Saturday and you look and it's got 2.1 million views. You're like, what the? So once you really get the concept that it doesn't matter what you put out, you just got to put it out and be consistent with it. That was a big one for me because I would spend hours trying to get the right clip and the right hook. And I'm like, you know what? I finally got to the point at the 2-year mark. I'm like, I don't give a shit. I'm just going to throw all the shit at the wall and some of it's going to stick. It sticks, it does, it doesn't. I don't care. We're still growing. We still have growth. As long as I see growth, cool. I'm happy with that. As long as we do a little bit better than the previous month, and sometimes you don't. You go the opposite way and you go into panic mode and you're like, well, see how next month is. Maybe it'll pick back up. I just got out of like an 8-week lull, dude. We've been crushed for 8 weeks, like dead. No movement. Dude, we monetizing is dog shit. Like, what can you do? Like, I'm not going to chase it. The old version of me, I would have gone to straight panic mode. I would have been buried in the reels and edits and trying to push content just to get our numbers back up. I was like, fuck, it'll pick back up when it does. And unfortunately, it was 8 weeks, but that's just it. It's how it is. I went through one last year. And once you're in this a while, you'll see. There'll be times where you're putting out episodes where you're like, it wasn't dealing a conversation. And then you're going to get, it's going to rip. And then you put it out an episode and you're like, oh man, this one is going viral and it tanks. Yeah. Once you accept that concept in the podcast world, you're like, all right, yeah, it is what it's up to God. I'm just going to put it out. The people like it. They like it. If they don't, they don't. They'll listen. And then every episode though, you're gaining a couple of followers, diehard listeners. Then you get in more, and then you get more. And so when you have those shitty episodes, you have this foundation of incredible listeners that are, no matter what, they're just there to support because they love the show. They love you as a host, whatever it may be. Yeah, you just got to keep going. There's all those little crap mics and equipment you're trying to figure out and updated gear and
all the time.
It's just it's all little stuff, So, but it makes it fun.
Takes up a lot of bandwidth. Dude, and then you guys got the sourdough company, and then you also started BAM Nation, which is really awesome for men because stuff just, I feel like men are really lonely nowadays and stuff like that. So
thank you. Yeah, it's been a cool one, man. I'm glad you're part of it. And so it's just, obviously BAM Nation is very new. I don't even open it. We're not even accepting anybody. That's why very seldom you see a new person jump in. But I'm just trying to create a true community for men that's built for men, like no politics, no group chat bullshit. Like I want it to be a platform that it grows into one day. So I don't want guys in BAM Nation 24/7 because there's no different of you being in there than being on your phone scrolling social media. But I want BAM Nation to be a platform when you're struggling, you need advice, something happened in your life and you have nobody to go to or friends or a community and you don't have purpose. Open the fucking app up, dude, and throw it in. You see it every day. Look at the guys, what they're sharing in there. Like, yo, just went through this. How do I handle this? And then it's incredible men that have been in the trenches that are able to give their real world life experiences back. And that's the atmosphere that I'm really trying to focus on and build, because then it just becomes some Discord group where everybody's in there bullshitting and just talking crap nonsense all day. And that, I don't want that. That's my biggest fear, is just turning this into just another app for men to go in and be distracted by. That's what I'm trying to undo.
Got to have some purpose behind it.
And so, yeah, that's why every week we come out with a new word, and there's the focus word. And so the guys can be like, okay, dedication, purpose, whatever, all the words that we have. And then there's lessons in there. Then, putting out free curriculum for guys that are kids and just want to learn at their own pace. So yeah, I think it's going to be, like 2 years. I'm giving myself, I told the wife, like, I don't care about any of this for at least a year before I even start caring about numbers. Cause I have buddies that have communities, and that's the thing. They want all these numbers. They want all these men. It's just a paycheck for them. Like, dude, I have yet to make a dime on any of this community. I actually I'm hemorrhaging money with guys' nights and communities and cigar nights. But that's what it comes down to, is I want to build a true brotherhood where guys that something happens with their kids or their wife or work or finances, they have dudes to be able to truly lean on. Like, well, hardly any of those guys knew each other going into it. There was actually a few of them that were connected, which is really weird, that they didn't even know they were joining BAM Nation, but they've known each other. On the original 38 guys. And so, but I just want a foundation for men to be able to go somewhere, and it's no gimmicks. You're not scrolling content. Everything is there, and it provides a value. And then the bringing in experts. Like last night we had Chris Gethin on. You jumped in for a little bit. Chris Gethin talked peptides for an hour and a half with these guys, just talking, answering questions, and to be able to have men that I've networked with over the years of everything that I've been through and all the bullshit that have helped me come along and got out of my dark times and brought me out of trenches or helped me financially, whatever it may be. I want to bring those guys in and be like, cool, here's my group. This is what's helped me. Or you might have somebody like, dude, this guy got me through this, changed my life. Let's bring them in and let them talk to the community. It's not built around. That's why I hate life coach. For me personally, I'm not a life coach because my life is fucking fucked up. Start to finish. I wake up, I sin every day. I fail every day. I make huge mistakes as a husband and a father every day. So like I myself am just hold myself to such a standard where I can't coach somebody else's life when I'm making the same mistakes, but I can help mentor because I'm making those mistakes. I've made those mistakes. I know a lot of dudes that have helped me along the way. So if I'm going to consider myself anything, it would be a mentor, but that's why I haven't built that group around me. You look at all these men's communities, it's always built around them and who they are as this influencer. Well, dude, I know a dude that has a ginormous community, and the dude's out cheating on his wife constantly.
Yeah.
He's a piece of shit, but all these men look up to him because he hides that. I can't be that dude, right? I have too much integrity to sit here and try to like mentor and tell you how to be a better person while I'm doing that. But it's like, you know what? We're all going to come together. I know guys in that community right now that have made some major mistakes in their relationships, but they're owning it. And they're able to come to me on the side in the DMs and be like, yo, dude, this is where I'm really struggling. And that's where I can relate to these guys because I was that piece of shit for a long time, dude. I cheated on my wife more times than I'd ever want to admit. Like I was a piece of shit human being for a long time, but that's what's helped me be able to help these guys. But I'm not an expert. I can't help. I don't watch porn. I'm very blessed there. I've never had a battle with porn. A lot of dudes do. But so instead of me acting like I'm better than these dudes and I'm this perfect life coach, I'm going to bring an expert in. He's going to now have their own community to be able to talk to these guys about addiction and problems that they're battling. I want to bring in Ben, the cybersecurity guy. Perfect example. Great buddy of mine from the podcast, but he helps teach people how to keep your kids safe online. Why would I not bring somebody into the community that can offer that? And so that's where it's like, I want to build a true platform where there's coaches on the side, experts, leading experts in fields that could come in and have their own little courses and be able to help men along the way and just build a true meaning of a community where you could pop in, take something that you want. Hey, this was a great lesson for me. Oh, there's some new curriculum that I can learn about my kids. Go through it at their pace, and they dip and they come back and forth whenever they need to. Like that's all I want. That's what I'm trying to build because that's what works for me. I'm not going to sit in some dude's group and tune in every single week and have to follow this and do that. Like that's just not my life. But sometimes I need to follow somebody and ask somebody some advice, and that's what it's there for. So I just want to build a really cool tool through BAM Nation, just as a platform, but as a tool for men to be able to. if they're single, if they're married, they got kids, they're divorced, they're going through whatever health issues, I want to just be able to have a resource, almost a really cool dictionary, like a thesaurus for men
Yeah.
that as this grows. And that's why it's very slow. I'm not trying to rush any of this. I want to make sure it's done right. And dude, you jumping in is pretty awesome to be able to, and to go start at the beginning. I mean, dude, I started with 1,000 dudes, narrowed it down to 38 guys that were serious about it, you being one of them.
Yeah.
And
I feel like it was needed. I felt lonely a lot of my life, and I felt like, once I did start getting around some people that shared their wisdom with me, like it changed my life. And
100%.
I feel like you got to have that. I see, too many people, my dad even, like I think about my dad, and he's really just been just solely either with his kids or with his wife his whole life. I asked him, I was like, you ever have any like man friends or anything outside of just coworkers, or not even coworkers, just people you talk to in the office, because he didn't really hang out outside of work, and he's never had anybody. And I'm like, I just think that that's such a downfall after seeing, especially, like if you work in like a law enforcement or you work in the military, you're usually surrounded with like those kind of people too. But then once you get out, then they're gone, and you think you're going to be brotherhood, blue, back to blue for your whole life, and it doesn't really, they go. So then you're all on your own, and then it's just, you have to have these other men around you, and then having men that are just so experienced in life, and the things that you think disqualify you from even to help others is actually a thing that qualifies you, because you've gone through those things.
Absolutely.
And now you can be like, this is what happened. This is what helped me. You could take your own, you could do what you want, but this is what I would do. And they can take their own advice, because that's what I think for a lot of people is like, it's got to be their idea. You can share your experiences, but they got to make the switch. You can lead a horse to water kind of thing, right? But it was just so needed. And so when I seen that you made that, I was like, I got to hop on. I'm a huge supporter of like the iron sharpening iron, right? Like you got to just surround yourself with like-minded individuals. I think Christ-centered individuals, because you could have like-minded individuals, but they want to be like in a gang or something like, but if they're all Christ-centered, I feel like everybody's in the same direction, at least some kind of a direction in life where they want to be better, And I think that's been huge for me in the last few years, is just like the faith side of things, because I've never really had that in my life before 2024. But like after that, man, it's just like, I wouldn't have gone through hardly any of the stuff that I went through, like going into entrepreneurship, leaving a secure job, and like faith.
Changes your life.
Too many things coming together. You just can't. You can't
make it make sense.
Yeah,
make it make sense, bro.
God shit, right?
It's 100% God shit. That's one of those things, man. I wish I could scream to the world that just start a conversation with the big man upstairs and just leave him a voicemail. You don't know how to talk to God? Cool. Dude, I'm a horrible Christian. Like, I'll admit it. I have no problem. I hate praying. My flesh fights me every single night on it. I can't read my Bible, but I'll tell you what, dude. There's no doubt in my mind that Jesus walked this earth and that God exists. And I'm at least I just posted about it the other day. I'm man enough to accept that I am better and closer to God than I used to be, but I'm also farther away from Satan than I used to be. And so it's this journey that you're on, but you go back to gratitude and kind of our original conversation, man, of changing your life. And that happened to me, of getting on my knees and praying and surrendering it to God. I was one of those, I've talked about it before, dude. I would have been one of those nights that I would have had my head lobbed out and never would have bent the knee. I'm that person. I will not bend the knee to fucking anything on this planet. I will not. So it was hard, dude. It was my pride, and I'd swallow my pride. And after years of my wife chipping away at it, and she's just, we had a huge come to Jesus moment, and so yeah, she kind of checked me really good, and man, it changed my life. And just accepting, like, I grew up as a pastor's kid, and and I fell away from it in the military. That's why it was really hard for me to come back, because I'm like, I've seen shit. Like, if there's a God, you wouldn't allow this to happen. Just the ignorant mindset, and so.
I think everybody feels like that. They've gone through something that said, like, if God exists, why would he allow this to happen?
For a reason.
Yeah.
And also at the same time, it's good versus evil. The world is full of evil. It's not, if we lived in a world that was full of good and nothing happened, everybody lived forever, nobody would be a believer.
Right. God gives you free will.
It's 100% free will. And so, yeah, it's just one of those things, man. Like, and that's going kind of back to BAM Nation with faith. When I first originally wanted to launch BAM Nation was because I'm in my DMs all day talking to dudes about kids and their families and relationships and stuff like that, being a girl dad and being a husband. So that was the whole foundation of it. I was like, oh, I'm just going to talk to husbands and dads. And then obviously through the questionnaires that you guys filled out for us, completely changed everything. That's why I truly feel once this gets going, this is going to be one of the greatest platforms for men, because it wasn't just built off of my ideas. It wasn't me going, man, this is where men need us in a community. I didn't know fuck all from after taking all of your guys' data and information and plugging all that in and breaking it all down. Dude, I was in a whole different ball game. I'm in the freaking Dodger Stadium. Meanwhile, we're playing football. You know, like we're two different sports, two different worlds of where I originally thought I was going to be helping men. And then it came down to purpose and community and faith and fitness and legacy and brotherhood. It was wild of what men needed. But the fact that it just took me going, hey, why don't I just ask men what they need? Instead of me building this and be like, if you build it, they will come. You know, yeah, they will.
Right.
But instead of me building it off of what I thought I could provide, okay, why don't I just sit back and go, what do men need? Okay, if I'm going to build this community for men, what are men asking for? And that's where it really came down to the guys and narrowing it from 1,000 dudes to the OG 38s, and them being you and one of them being extremely vulnerable, very open to what is going on, what men need, what we're lacking, what's our purpose, and to see that and to read this and just, dude, it was sad, bro. It was sad. Those guys and the guys in that community were a lot of those dudes were lonely, and they just didn't have anybody to be able to talk to. And so we're so secluded as men these days. And I don't know if it's just this world of the hustle and bustle and the grind bro mentality where you just got to head down, don't associate with anybody, but we're not lonely creatures. We need people around. Does it need to be this? No, but I think this is the healthiest form of communication that we could do is, face to face, but also at the same time, there are ways to be able to build relationships with people that are in communities. And that way you could reach out and have people to fall on and lean on in those times. But it's just, I want to give guys what they're asking for, not what I think they need. And yeah, it's been going really, really well so far, and just slow burn. That's why, I kind of said a little bit ago that I'm not just opening it up because I don't care. I want this to be guys that are in there that are benefiting. I want men that truly want, they're at that point. I need to do something. I just need that. I need to better myself somehow. If it's purpose, faith, fitness, finance, whatever it may be. Cool, we got something for you in there, but not until they get to that stage, because I don't want this to be just another social media platform where guys are in there because, I follow you on Instagram, I thought it'd be cool.
Yeah.
It's the last thing I want. I want to do this. Hey, dude, I need help. Right.
Well, that's why it's going to be successful, is because you have the servant mindset, not a self-serving mindset.
Well, thank you, dude.
Because, when you're only worrying about yourself, then God's not going to back you.
Yep.
Know? But when
100%.
you're trying to help others, and that's one thing I've learned about business is try and give enough value first, and then don't chase money, chase value. And, so that's what you're doing. And in everything you do, whether it's in your family, friends, business, of just giving value. And then people will see that your heart is like that. That's the whole thing with faith, is it's like a heart, it's a heart change, right? You're just trying to serve others, please God and serve others. But a lot of people try and please others and serve God, and it's not like that.
Yep. That's why dude, you look at the numbers in there. We don't even have 50 dudes yet. And it's like, I want to get it to the point where every dude in there, every man that's in that community wants to refer a friend, because then that shows me I'm doing the right thing.
Yeah.
And those are the guys that are coming in now, are all friends of friends and, referred guys, because that's the meaning of this. I want somebody to look at their boy and be like, yo, dude, these guys, this is what's going on in here. This is what we have this week. This is the challenges that's going on. And so obviously my life gets busy, and, it's got a lot. We got a lot to figure out on that end. It's almost like building a whole different social media platform with all the different groups and the way that it's let out with curriculum and our pillars and all that stuff. It's a lot. And so it's one of those things, though. If you're not in it for the right mindset, it's a very easy to be like, yeah, screw this. Like, this is too much work because I'm not making any money with it. It's a huge chunk of my day every day. I've never written so much. I've never read so much in my life. Like, there's so much that goes into this because you have so many different personalities, and there's guys that are watchers and they just watch it, and then maybe once a month something will trigger it, and then they come in there and they're super full into it. Then I have guys that comment on every single thing. So it's just to teach their own. I just want to put out enough at this buffet of just knowledge and power and community where guys can be like, I need that right now. I could take this right now. Yeah, I'm good at the moment. You know, check back in, see where we're at. That's how I want to. Eventually, that's how I at least that's my goal with it, and how I envision the long term of just tight, badass community where dudes like yourself. You're going through a huge, incredible fitness journey right now. Did you want to start your own community on the side? I want this to be the guys that come to me. You can start a community for correctional officers. Hey, we're coming here to just talk, whatever it may be. I want men that are inside of there to step up into mentor positions and to be able to build their own little mini communities off of this massive community that is going to become one day. Like, you know, I'll go back to Ben. He's just a perfect example of the IT guy. I'm like, dude, build a TJ Webb, cop, shot 6 times. He has law enforcement. I'm like, dude, I'm going to open this up to everybody so you could build a law enforcement community inside of this. But then if guys want into the community, it's completely different. I'm not giving everybody full access, but I want guys that are in there to be able to start growing themselves on the outside of it. And it's like, dude, if I can help and I'm promoting this through my platforms and people are going to find this, see your platform, dude, you can start building curriculum, whatever it may be, to help mentor, one-on-one coaching, whatever it is. I want everybody to win. I feel most people just get so jaded because it's all about me. I got to do, I want to be so rich and successful. Bro, if you just try to bring all your homies along the way and watch everybody win, it's so much more enjoyable. If you're watching your boys win as much as you are, that's one of the greatest accomplishments besides family, everything else. Watching your homies win with you, why would you not want that? Then they're stoked and they're bringing more. It's just a cycle, and it's just like a snowball effect. Then they're all bringing guys in. They get to build a community. It's just why are we so protective of everything that we build? It's mine. I got to gatekeep. I'm like, dude, you want to start a community? Fucking hey, let's do this.
Yeah.
Here's your. What do you want to call it? Walk you through it. This is how you build shit. I'm doing it with guys right now. I just want to see everybody win. That's just. It's fun, man.
I love that.
It's fun. You just watch other guys, you know, like you see them making moves. Like, dude, watching you on the podcast coming here, like, yo, do this, try this. It's fun for me to watch other people doing it and listening and making changes and growing. I don't know where we lose that as a society.
You get so much more fulfillment. I mean, that's honestly why I ended up leaving the prison, was because I had nothing to do. I had no fulfillment there, and I'm like, I want to help other parents feel as good as I feel losing weight. Like, that's got to be more fulfilling than being a glorified Uber driver or whatever I was doing. You know, it's like, yeah, but just helping others is so much more rewarding than anything that somebody could give you.
100%.
Like seeing that you help somebody else and you don't know like what the work that you're helping them with how many generations that could change that person. Mm-hmm. You know, like somebody along the line had to change, you know, Gandhi or whoever, like somebody had to change one of these big wigs. Somebody had to be the one that helped them out. Yep. You know,
everybody's had help at some point in their life. And it's just, if that's the least I can do, if, you know, and that's just what I tell, you know, TJ's a really good example for this. I'm like, bro, I have built this for 12, 15 years of my image online, my following, grinding out everything that I've done. I'm not going to sit here and be like, it's mine. Yeah. Nope, can't put your name on it. Now I'm like, yo, come on, like, we got momentum over here. Jump on, dude. If you could jump on this train with me, fuck, dude, everybody's winning. Like,
yeah, collaborate.
There's so much out there. It's the world, bro. You thinking like, oh, I'm not gonna tell you.
Scarcity mindset, man.
Like, I'm not gonna sit here and try to help you on your pocket. You're gonna be the number one. You're gonna put me under as a podcast. Right. Like, that's how people think. Like, you know, my daughter, she's like the biggest gatekeeper. She's like, Dad, you gotta stop telling these people. I'm like, Christy, I can give everybody the playbook. Doesn't mean they're gonna execute it. One, I mean, you can lead a horse to water. Here's a silver. I've handed dude silver platters before, and they just shit on it. Yeah. So it's like, hey, cool. But if that dude listens
and taking action,
and they tweak little things, they take the action, and then they come back to you like, bro, my downloads are up 20% since we changed this. Fucking A, dude. Like, what else? What's next? You know, I don't know, man. I guess this is my personality. My wife, she's like, dude, if people really realize who you were instead of just this big, callous gorilla asshole that I run around all the time throwing my shit everywhere, you know. But like but that's the true side. Like, I love seeing people win, man. That's why it kills me when your friends don't support you. It's like, dude, if you just came to me, I'd jump on.
Yeah.
I don't know, but instead everybody's got that mindset like me. I got to do this myself. And yeah, dude, it's fun when you're doing it yourself. But if you have a mentor or you have somebody who can give you advice along the way, take it. Take the advice If I'm sitting here going, oh, dude, jump on this, like, why would you not? And if everybody was doing that, look how awesome the world would be if instead of just like the whole little self bubble world that you live in, if you're like, hey, I'm going to bring as many people along with me as I can do, and then they can trickle that on, or if that's helping them with their kids and their family, and then they get the help and pass that. I don't know, just help somebody whenever you can. Doesn't mean you got to, and doesn't mean you got to film it and make it a big fucking YouTube reel. Just help people when you can. If you can lend a hand, do it. And it just, I don't know, it makes you feel better too. It's like you look back and be like, man, that's cool. Like I listened, and now it's working. And I've helped buddies that have blown by me in certain aspects and certain jobs and positions, and I'm like,
yeah,
good for you, bro.
Right.
Like I'm glad it worked out, and that's how it should be. I feel like if everybody looked at like that in life, man, it would, and it's just more fun. You get to enjoy it.
That's awesome, dude. Well, I really appreciate you coming on. Where's a good spot for everybody to follow you? I'm sure a lot of people follow you, but just on the off chance someone hasn't already followed you, where they good spot?
I'd say Instagram is probably my most active. BamBam0069 or the Wild Chaos Podcast. They can go check that out there, and we got some cool episodes coming up. And I got that one, like I said, right now it's going crazy in Reno. The chief just got fired, and after our conversation with Gabe, and it's been interesting.
I'm sure you get some interesting DMs.
I do. I have people that absolutely hate me.
That's all right.
Absolutely hate me.
Can't have people love you if you don't have people hate you, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, but at the same time, it's like you saw a 30-second clip. So it's just, I look at it as pure ignorance, but not everybody's going to agree with everything you say, and it is what it is. But I just laugh at it and, got to move on. I'm not going to stop because somebody got butthurt over something. So it actually makes me go even harder on certain subjects.
That's good. I mean, if you're just always sitting on the fence, then nobody's gonna take any action or like or anything. Let's scroll right past you. But at least if they hate you, that's a comment.
It is. Those are the ones. Would never waste my time listening to this. I'm like, but you commented.
Yeah.
like here
please
you
tell
are.
me an additional 10 comments how you felt on each one of my on each one of my reels, please.
100%.
Don't tell me how you hate me on all the other.
100%. Then you just respond to. That's my thing. I'll respond. I'll chirp back at people, and they don't think as like an influencer or a face or a Christian or whatever. I'm not gonna talk some shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, then I chirp back, and then they just, oh man, you can't talk to me like that. And then I just look at the algorithms, and then I'm just like, that's why whenever I put out like anything conspiracy, and I just talk shit, even though I don't even care, disagree, agree, I don't care. Like I've already moved on with my life. I'm in my garden. I'm smoking a joint, eating fucking cucumbers and shit, and you're all fighting over me over flat Earth or something. So
yeah,
and
I know. I love watching these posts too. I was like, oh man, he's just putting an engagement post up. I love this.
See, and when you see it from that point, it's hilarious. You're like, all right, I see what you're doing, because there's just sometimes where I could use a boost and all this throw out like make this make sense, and then all the globetards and conspiracy people are like, dinosaurs aren't real, and they're like, and they just blow their minds off, and then I'm just like, I'll talk shit back to them like, you're regurgitating everything from the public education that taught you. They're like, I'm educated.
Yeah.
And I just sit and laugh, because in reality, it's like, dude, I'm just enjoying my day, and you're over here fired up trying to fight me in comments on a social media app.
Yeah.
Like, I'm good, dude. Like, I'm just sitting in my garden fucking vibing. You're mad over the world's flat or not.
Yeah. Shit you can't control. Like, if it is flat or round, who cares?
Politics, dude. Like, we're fighting over politics. Like, they're all slurping on children. They all hate us. Like, and you think one side's better than the other? You're an absolute clown. But you could use that in your advantage on social media. Put out some. That's how all of these political rage baiters are so successful, is because you're so brainwashed for a side that you're willing to like hate somebody or worship somebody because the side they agree on. In reality, they're all owned. There's only one party. They all hate us. We're all slaves to them. And it's like, once you realize that, you're like, yeah, I don't care. I'm going to live my life.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not fighting over Trump. Yeah. Imagine being as an adult and you're fighting over Trump. Like, that to me, or I just die laughing. I'm like, okay, we're not on the same page.
I know.
We're not the same people.
And I used to be like such a Trump supporter.
100%.
But then it's like just the same thing with like the fantasy football thing. It's like, this doesn't change my life in any direction. Like, if gas is $4 a gallon right now, I could bitch about that online all day, or I could just pay it and go make more money.
What are you going to do? Vote for somebody else and it's going to go $4 again?
I'm like man, if that's really what our communication's coming down to, like, I don't have anything else to talk to you about besides $4 a gallon, or there's weather outside. I'm like, I'm around the wrong people.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. That's like anybody I get with, dude. We're not talking politics. Like it's fun. It's
Yeah.
fun to mess with online because people are so consumed by it. But that should show you where your mindset is. If you are that consumed by sports, politics, anything that's going on except for what's in your world, your family, your wife, your relationships, your business, they own you.
I want to talk about growth. I don't care if that's money growth. I don't care if that's just like
Life.
family growth,
Yeah.
life, but I want growth.
100%. Every day should be something about growth. But if you're sitting here rotting and brain rot shit, and you're watching another dude run around on a field, and you're wearing his name on your back, like I'm sorry, that's gay as fuck. Like,
Yep.
and you're watching all these games. Oh man,
It's my team.
it's my team. And you're willing to people that fight over sports, dude. I can't fathom it that you're fighting over a sports team that doesn't even know you exist. Meanwhile, you have no relationship with your kids because you're a drunk piece of shit. Why don't you sit there instead of watching a stupid football game that because you're going to live your glory days? Why don't you spend the time with your kids?
Yeah.
It's a Sunday afternoon and you're sitting in front of your TV for 3 or 4 hours watching idiots. That's all scripted anyways.
On a low end of 3 or 4 hours. Yeah.
Yeah, for one game. That's that. Yeah, don't even get me started
Wow.
on that rabbit hole because it's just those are the dudes where I don't do my friend application is closed. If I know you're sitting and watching sports all day, I don't need you in my life because you're not growing. Those are
Yeah.
think about 4 or 5 hours on a day that you can be out doing something, growing, starting a side hustle, spending time with your kids, go play ball. Instead of watching football, why don't you go play football with your kids?
You can tell me somebody else's stats in their life and what they're going to be making the next year and their contracts, and you can't tell me anything about what you're eating or what you're doing with your life.
What's
or
your
why
daughter's favorite color?
Yeah.
Duh.
But
But you know Edelman's fucking stats. Like,
yeah.
well, we ran for this, code for this. Like, cool, dude. What's your wife into? What are your kids into? I don't give a
Exactly.
shit. You sound like an idiot. Honestly, like that's how I look at that shit. Grown ass men over sports. I was the biggest sports fan, like we said in the beginning of this podcast. I should have gone and played D1 ball. And I was like, yeah, I'm military instead because I'm an idiot. No way.
What was
bro.
it Rome? They created the circus to distract the people, right? So
Facts. Great
thanks
conversation.
for coming
dude.
on, man.